It's that squad sound.
Yeah. What's good, neighborhood? You back in the lab with your favorite neighbor, your man Mark Nash. He is I am he. Another great episode of Breaking Beats. How's you feel? What's the deal? Welcome home to everybody in the neighborhood. Man, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this for a little bit tonight, man. We got to talk about this. So you see the title, you see what's going on. We got a black Tennessee mayor who signs a proclamation declaring April as Confederate History Month. You can't make this up. Nope. This is all true, all factual. I can't make this up. Shout out to everybody who's pulling up. Yeah, man, just doing a different type of content right here, just a different type of video. Yo, this picture right here is just kind of wild too. Just seeing the picture right here. Let me share this link out. Shout out to everybody who pulling up. Let me blast my link out real quick. Yo, this black Tennessee mayor, his name is Robert Hayes. He signs a proclamation declaring April Black History Month. Now, they have a caption that's going along with the picture, but basically, a black Tennessee mayor has declared April Confederate History Month while surrounded by white members of the Sons of the Confederate Veterans, which says it celebrates the history of the Confederacy while denouncing racism. Y'all ain't got no black members? Isn't any black members to the Sons? I mean, it would be a better photo op if you guys had some black members as well, right? I mean, come on, we got to mention that. Let me continue reading the rest of this post. Yeah, you can't make this up. Livingston mayor, this is Livingston, Tennessee mayor, Curtis Hayes. Okay, somebody said his name was Robert Hayes, so I got to check that. Okay. But over here, Mayor Hayes, how about that? Who appears to be a nonpartisan with no record of a party affiliation, signed a proclamation last week with members of the SCV. Again, this is Sons of the Confederate Veterans. It is a Tennessee-based group comprised of male descendants of Confederate soldiers. This is according to Overton County News. The Confederate States of America seceded from America, as you know, in 1861, following the inauguration of Abraham Lincoln. The Southern states believed, they wanted to separate. They wanted their slaves for their agricultural and things of that nature for the economy. The Confederacy ultimately lost the Civil War. It was the bloodiest war in American history in 1865, and it was dissolved back into the United States. This is probably one of the worst wars ever, right? It's the only time where the states broke apart from each other. I said all that to say this. And then we done with all the respectful part. Nigga, the fuck you doing, son? Bro, you can't make this up. I'm sorry, part of my vernacular, part of my speech. But what's going on here? Now, I heard some people say political pressure. I heard some people say, man, he just sold out. Some people say, hey, man, you got to go along to get along. He's trying to get reelected. Man, you ain't trying. Look, some campaigns ain't worth even trying to throw your name in the ballot box for. This is this looks bad. This photo op to me looks bad. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. But we're gonna talk about it. Let me blast this link out. It's your man Martin Nash Breaking Beats. Bear with me. Give me 30 seconds, man. Let me blast this link out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna blast it out while I chop it up with y'all, because I got some more on this I'm gonna read on. I'm gonna play some clips. Some people love it. They're saying, man, this is great. This is a great thing he's doing here. Let me give y'all some more of these photos because we got some more photos from the photo gallery. Let me screenshot them. I can't believe he did this. I am I shocked? You know what? I really can't. I'm sorry. Because sometimes you can go too far and trying to appease everybody because you can't please everybody, right? It's impossible to please everybody. But you, sir, Mayor, you didn't have to do this. Somebody said, rumor has it, he started shining off this shit. Clown him, bro. Clown him. If ever y'all want to roast somebody, bro, clown this dude right here. And his two-tone forehead. Yeah, man. Got two tones on his forehead. Yeah, clown him. Roast him. Roast this man. Shame on you, bro. So let me see. I want to play some of this audio. So shout out to Dr. Rashad Ritchie. He's gonna play the audio. I'm gonna use his audio, and I'm gonna play another clip after this.
Signs of proclamation declaring basically what he's done.
Oh, here we go.
White Supremacy Month. That's basically what he's done. Let's put up the picture full throttle. Black Tennessee Mayor signs a proclamation declaring April Confederate History Month, aka White Supremacy Month, in his city while surrounded by white supremacists known as Sons of Confederate Veterans group who insist they stand against racism. Okay, so Black Tennessee Mayor declared April Confederate History Month while surrounded by these individuals. Livingston, Tennessee. All right, that's where it's at. Livingston, Tennessee. Mayor Robert Hayes. He's the person in the middle. Mayor Robert Hayes, surrounded by white members of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. You got Norman, you got Michael, you got Junior, you got Bill, you got another Bill, and you got Tommy. Those are literally their names. Those are their names. Okay,
okay, stop right there.
Livingston Mayor Curtis Hayes, who appears to be nonpartisan with no record of party affiliation.
So his name is Curtis. Okay, so his name is Curtis Hayes. I don't know where we got Robert Hayes from. I'll fix that in the description block. But that's where we at with it so far. I'm gonna play the next part of the clip. I'm gonna make sure the phone lines are open because I want to hear what you guys got to say. This is wild, yo. This is on a different level. Like, you worked all your life to be empowered to change and fix fix wrongs that were done, and you can make these things right. And once you get into power, homie, this is what you do with your power. This is what you do with your influence. Come on, fam. Come on, fam. What we doing here, man? Bear with me, y'all. I'm blasting my lane. Confederate. Now they got this one caption I saw going on. Let me go to this. Cause they was trying to make it right. Explain what he's doing. They said a contingent of compatriots with Sons of Confederate Veterans. Man, I ain't even about to read this bullshit. I'm looking at what they're saying. It's not worth reading. I'm gonna find this other article because they making it too right. But they say despite the group's claims, it has repeatedly been criticized for allegedly trying to push the narrative that slavery wasn't at the forefront of the Civil War. They're saying they're not into racism. Hayes' office and the SCV did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. This is from the Daily Mail, but they said he's been the mayor for more than 15 years, has previously been recognized by the NAACP. He's been receiving the group's Diversity Award at the Cookeville Branch Freedom Fund Award program last year. Fam, you can't make this up, homie. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, NAACP. Y'all failed. Y'all made a mistake. Y'all dropped the ball. That's my opinion. This is me, Martin Nash. I ain't trying to lead the witness on none of this. I'm just saying this is I've never heard of this before. Why would you sign a Confederate and make it a whole month? These people were traitors to America, homie. Let's never forget that. These people wanted to separate from the country and do their own thing. We can't think this is cool. I mean, you don't celebrate Hitler. Committed crimes against humanity. So did these guys who are in this Confederate. I'm sorry, bro. These are not war heroes. These are treasonous individuals. Absolutely. Tennessee is a beautiful state, Joey Chaz. But these people didn't want Tennessee to be a part of America. Never forget that. They wanted to do their own thing. Tennessee is a very beautiful place because it's a part of America. But this, I can't believe this brother did this, yo. I am so disappointed. Like, you've been a mayor for 15 years, bro. Like, let me make sure I read that right. You've been a mayor for 15 years? Hayes, who has served as mayor for more than 15 years, 15 years. You didn't have to do this? Well, they got dirt on you or something? Is that possible? I don't know. I'm just saying. I ain't saying it's true, but put a case on it. Do you not know the skin you in, my brother? Are you not reading the room? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to read the room, family. Got to read the room. And if he's reading the room, he got to understand these people would have hung you in the room back in the days, homie. What are we doing here? 15 years of being the mayor. All that power. And this is what you do with that power. Like, you know what? We're going to make a day for traitors who went against the whole Constitution that we swear on. When we get in office, that Bible, when you swear that oath against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These were enemies, domestic. Their grandsons, fuck their ancestors. Fuck them. Yeah, I said it. Fuck your great-great-granddaddy. He was a traitor. He was a piece of shit. And I said it. Girl behind the mic, talk to me.
Whose uncle is this?
Hello? You sound far away, sis.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound real far away, though, like you got the phone on speaker and you like on the toilet or something, or in the shower.
What about now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You just sound, sound hollow. You don't sound like how you normally sound on the show. You don't sound the same.
Well, let me fix my mic, and I'm going to come right back.
All right, absolutely. Yeah, man, but fuck your great-granddaddy, Billy. What they say the guy's name was? Let me go back to the, what do you say the guy's name was?
Those are literally Livingston individuals. Mayor Robert Hayes. He's the person in the middle. Mayor Robert Hayes, surrounded by white members of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. You got Norman, you got Michael, you got Junior, you got Bill, you got another Bill, and you got Tommy.
Okay,
those are literally.
So fuck Norman, Michael, Junior, Bill, and Tommy. Norman, Michael, Junior, Bill, and Tommy, and the other Billy. Fuck you and your great-great-granddaddy. They were traitors, treasonous. We ain't signing no day for that. Hell no. Nah. But I digress. Go ahead, Reggie, girl behind the mic.
Man, I would have beat these old motherfuckers up. Like, you niggas ain't died with the war. These niggas are old as fuck. You niggas should have been dead back in 1860. I'm gonna beat you the fuck up.
Their ancestors got a day, Reggie. The black mayor signed it.
The ancestors, them niggas look like they was in the war. They must have knocked on his door. Mayor, it's some good American voters. What's your name? Johnny Noose. Open the door, nigga. Right, old niggas bombarded that nigga office, man. He got shook. Pulled some paper out the desk. Here, you got it. What the fuck? Man, these motherfuckers too old to be demanding some shit. And he old nigga.
Who knows? I mean, like, he's been a mayor for 15 years. Like, why is he signing this? He don't have to do that, Reggie. Or does he?
I mean, he been there 15 years, how many crosses he had in that yard. But like I said, I'd be beating these old motherfuckers up. Fuck that. They would have went on World Star. I've been a world star mayor. Ain't no way I'm signing no shit for no fucking backwoods. What's the town now? I'm gonna look at the demographic in this town.
Livingston, Tennessee.
Let me pull this shit up. But these old ancient fucking, they look like Civil War extras. You know, motherfuckers be doing them old reenactments of the war and shit. They playing that shit.
Right, they want to reenact the war, hoping they win this time. That's some goofy shit, man. I don't respect it, homie. That's why I went on the tangent. I'm sorry. Look, this ain't all white folks, lottie dottie, everybody. Nope, this ain't it. I'm talking about these guys right here posing with this black mayor and for the black mayor. Fuck all of y'all. And in the words of Billy D, your mama should be ashamed and your daddy should have pulled out. Matter of fact, your daddy should have pulled out that war because they lost. Why do America's the only place we celebrate losers of a war who were traitors to the country? We celebrating that shit here. Brandon Washington, I think you called it. There we go. Brandon Washington, talk to me, bro.
Salute, what up, man? I'm glad you popped back up with another show. What up, though, Reg?
What up, my brother Brandon? What's up?
Shit, nothing, man. I see they took your Instagram. You posted they took your gram, man. You must be wilding on Instagram. I ain't never been on there, so I can imagine what you're doing to get it took.
Yeah, I'm on there acting a fool.
All right, let's stay on code. Talk to me about this topic, Brandon. What you got for me?
Oh yeah, stay on code. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just see you talking about this story, and I heard you was like, they trying to reenact the war and see if they can win.
That's my joke, really though. I'm just joking because they be doing these. Look, these motherfuckers be doing these old Civil War reenactment. Like, no, you can't. Yeah. And in certain versions, like, we could win if we did this. Like, no, motherfucker. Yep. You won because you had black folks with you too.
They didn't lose, they just refined it. They didn't lose, they just refined it. Because think about it. This is the only country where you see the losers flag on display and inside of other flags, like state flags. Everywhere else, you got to put the losing flag up. It's not to be seen again. You don't see Nazi flags flying in Germany. They outlawed. You can't have them because that symbolizes something else, and it brings up a certain stigma with it. So it's the same with the Confederate flag. That black man, I guarantee you, he's just black in skin. If you talk to him, he probably sound like them, act like them. He's probably married to one of them, because no self-serving black man with any type of pride or honor or respect would sign something like that. It's against you. Basically, you signing something that's against you. That flag, when you see it, you already know that it's against you because it was a symbol used to fight against your freedom. So we already know what time it is with that, man. Good topic, though. I would, you know what I would like to do? I would like to talk about, since other channels kiss Bob Arum ass, I would like to talk about Daniel Kennedy and how Bob Arum has been in bed with the mob. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm reading his book, and it's about corruption in boxing. It's by Dr. Gerald Horn. But long story short, it talks about how Bob Arum's wife, Lovey, father was in bed with the Las Vegas mob, with Lefty Rosenthal and all them. Bob Arum knows them all. He went to their funeral and everything. He knew them all. So that's the aspect of boxing that we should be talking about. Why is this criminal element in boxing, and how can we get it out? Instead of bashing the PBC every other day, let's talk about the real gangsters, the real mobsters, and what real gangsterism looks like. Because we ain't seen Danny Hanna, we ain't heard about Danny Kennedy shooting nobody, pulling no guns, but all across the world, he's being targeted as a reputable gangster. So let's talk about Bob Arum and his underworld ties, and why we need to get corruption like him out of the sport of boxing. But I digress. Once again, Mark, beautiful show, man. Keep it up. You like my bro Megazord tell you, one of the best facilitators on YouTube. Keep it up. I'm gonna jump back in the chat. And Reg, you gotta chill out, man. Don't get your YouTube taken. But outside of that, I'm gonna jump back in the chat. Thanks for letting me call in, Mark. I'm gonna try to if you on later, I'm gonna try to jump back on the panel on my break.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Salute, bro.
Salute.
Love, bro.
It's all
Yes,
love,
sir.
bro. Salute. Girl behind the mic. Mic check 1 2. How you sound, sister?
Mic check 1 2.
All right, there you go. That's
Can
that
you hear me?
the voice. Go ahead, sis.
So I was saying, whose
Story, man.
uncle is this? But most importantly, I'm really confused.
It's Fred
These
uncle.
people.
Yo, he got
Yeah, he doesn't have anybody that loves him around him that looks like him. But you know what I was thinking though, honestly, when I looked at the data that Reggie just put in the chat with the population, that's 0.77 black people, right?
Yeah, less than 1%. Only 30. They
Oh
put the actual numbers. Only 30 black people.
I mean, nothing justifies this, but this picture to me represents American politics. Nothing justifies this to me as a black person in America, but it gives you the exact example of where politics in America is. It's not about the politicians' moral compass or what they believe. It's about who's buying them. When you hear people say you can buy politicians in America, this is it. I mean, I've tried to think about who, what he's appeasing, but when you look at the stats, it's less than 1% black people in that community. And I bet you if those numbers were reversed, this wouldn't be a thing. So I'm not making an excuse for him, but he's just another politician that's bought. And now we really see how this works. Majority politicians are bought. Sorry, hate to say it. Hence why your favorite president, Obama, was in office. The first thing he did was pass one of the what? The LGBTQIEAZYZ stuff. Yet black Americans in America have been wanting some kind of law, some kind of something for them for years. And I'm not saying just because he was a black president, he should have given black Americans anything, but I'm just saying it was so interesting to me that that was the bill. That was it. So it showed me there too. This whoever's got the fattest pockets that can support them financially and back them up financially wins. And this is what you see here. It doesn't justify what he's doing, but he's appeasing his constituents.
I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm trying to get some pictures of his family.
That's probably the rest of
But Julie Hill sounds like a white lady. I'm sorry, yo. I know I'm prejudging right there, but
He
Julie
got
Hill,
a white wife with like 10 blonde-headed kids.
I mean, look, because Julie is the daughter of Jerry and Linda. These sounds like white folks, respect. So he and Julia Hill, daughter of Jerry and Linda Hill of Livingston, became husband and wife while he served as a city policeman. Yeah, man. Man. This is bad though, man. Oh, here we go. Julie Hill. Here we go. I got it. Go ahead, y'all continue. I'm about to pull this picture up.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ridiculous shit, but this what happened in them small towns. But it also makes me think of this is what you get when you hear people always talk to shit about the liberals only come for black folks after so long. You need to switch your vote. Well, this nigga did just that, and he signed a fucking bill to make sucker primacy day. But it's all a tell of where he comes from. I don't understand how a black dude in a town like that. And maybe it's a gimmick and a slap in the face of that community, or maybe it's a community trying to deal with you deal with the more backward towns that try to talk about dealing with a racial diversity and shit. You always get little white towns like that want to kind of push the rules of what diversity look like. And look here, we got a black mayor, but they don't have the numbers to be a force of anything. I don't know what town or county is next to it, but he a stupid ass dude to want to be in that town. But then again, you get black folks who run right in line with kind of white societal views like that. He may be dark in complexion, but maybe his mind is something else. He didn't got the cap peeled off his head and milk poured in it. But like I say, it's another Fred Hawthorne living in Livingston. It's no different than what Fred was trying to do, going to Whittier. That's exactly what these two niggas. I think these niggas is brothers. I think this Fred brother. To be real, except this nigga wanted to vote.
He was better. He was better. He was better. He was better at it.
That's why I say, to be fair, he's appeasing his constituents. Because if he probably went against us, who's going to vote for him? The 0.77?
He's been 15 years. He's been a mayor for 15 years.
Exactly. So the 93% of those white folks in that town have been putting him in to that same chair. I know 15 years later, why now? But maybe that's what they've asked. Maybe that's their ask now. They're so bold. Look, we've been voting for you for the last 15 years. Now we need our part. This is our ask. And I'm not going to lie to you. If it were me, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. It's just a painful part of Black history in America. I'm not doing it. But like I said, he's not me. I'm not him. And this is somebody that may be caught up in his ego of his position. No justification, but it is very sad because at the core, this is American history. At the core, you should not be easily bought, especially after 15 years, heck, retire, walk away. But I wonder what his grandchildren will think. I wonder what his children think. And I'm pretty sure maybe they think along the same lines. But for me, it's just the fact that this is a strong history. You're talking about a history of the South where they were Black politicians that were forcefully taken out in a time and period as well, just the scars and the tragedies of the South. And this is the best you could come up with after 15 years? Like I said, my mind understands why, because it's appeasing his constituents. But personally speaking, as Black skin in America, I would not be comfortable given the history. It's not about what they want to say. Oh, it's not about race. No, it is. It is, specifically the South. Now, if you live somewhere in California or somewhere up north, somewhere else, okay, we'll let you say what you want to say. But it's basically about that.
And these people lost. These were traitors. Like they broke away from America and wanted to have their own America. Like only in America do we celebrate these kind of atrocities. And keep in mind, a lot of these Civil War, these monuments were put up post-Civil War. These was put up more during times where Black folks was trying to get their civil rights. They started putting up these Confederate heroes in front of the courthouse or in town square, and start naming the cities after. Streets after them, naming the school after them. Like, and it was Jim Crow era scare tactics. But we got my guy Troy Graham in the building. What up, Troy?
Yes. Good morning to one and all. None of this is brand new. None of this is a surprise. These are just the founders of the NAACP. If you go back, you can find a picture of the founders of the NAACP, and it looks just like this picture, or similar to this picture, I should say. This is nothing new. I guess a lot of people, believe that this guy is being forced or whatever. He should be ashamed of himself. You ever stop to think that he's doing this of his own free will? Yeah, that's just the way he is. We can't complain when somebody says we're acting up the same mind. Then when somebody has a different view and a different mindset, okay, then we attack him. This is his viewpoint. This is his point of view. And trust me, it's not going to change. Nothing you can say to this man will change his mind about anything. I got to go to a doctor's tomorrow at a place called Gaithersburg. A couple of miles up the road, there's a place called Germantown. It's 2022, and they still allow the Klan to march up there. There's still a lot of Klan that march in Annapolis, Maryland. So, you know, it's just a state of mind. Whether you accept it or not, that's up to you.
Well, tell them Black Power when you go tomorrow.
Go ahead, Brandon Washington.
Can I jump in? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. The Troy's right. The NAACP was started by white people. We know that. Most of our organizations were started by white people, or if not started by white people, funded by white people. So the reason that is that's a form of control. Now, Troy asked the question: do you think he did this of his own free will? It depends on your own. You can do things under your own free will under duress. Your will would just put under duress. So, and if he did this free and clear of his own will, then that means that's something to be said about his psyche. So that's a problem. That's what we're speaking about. That's the reason that I believe Mark bringing up the story, because there's something off about this. Somebody doing something in the best that's detrimental to themselves and people that look like them. So it's something wrong. That's the reason we're talking about it. It's something off. That's like, and then not only that, his constituents are white. So basically, white people tell black politicians what to do. So you are correct, Troy. That's nothing new. White people tell black politicians what to do. I know you don't like that, Reg, but it is what it is. They make the laws. They decide what the laws are, and they may let you participate from time to time. But as far as restructuring everything, as far as even a girl behind the mic alluded to it, as far as what Obama did for the LGBTQ PRS people, they had more influence. And they had influence because they had people in position that can do something. If the president decided that he didn't want to do certain things, then they had power and they had lobbyists to make sure that their agenda got pushed through. When you don't do nothing for black people, nothing happens. There are no lobbyists. There are nobody to go and bang the gavel. We have really no super PACs. We have nothing. The only thing we have is our voice and maybe our vote when they get in trouble, i.e. Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. But we have nothing to threaten them with. That's why they can just do what they want with us. Oh, yeah, sign this piece of legislation. Yeah, move this over here. Yeah, do this. So until we decide that we will no longer do these people's bidding, I don't believe that going in the system. We've tried that. We've had Thurman. We had Obama. We've had we had black mayors throughout. We've had black senators. We had it all. Nothing has changed. So I think the alternative is just to do something else. That's something else, which is work on trying to make sure that black people are not relegated to just the entertainment class. So, but I ain't gonna get too deep in that. That's all I have.
Let me say this about this thing, because people like to say the Obama thing. What did black people change up politically when Obama got in office? Niggas danced around, paraded, swung from trees, light poles, bus stops, and all that. So what did niggas do after Obama got in office politically? Niggas ain't do shit but to sing "My President is Black." That's about it. Just because we got a black president.
Hey, Rich, we hung
No, go ahead, B. Go ahead.
No, I want to jump in and say something. Reggie, that was a good question. He's the president. He could only be the president of the United States. If you have a powerful enough platform, then he's going to listen to you. That's why he was able to actually work with the gays, the Jews, and whoever else, because they have a powerful platform. Black people talk loud. They talk loud, but they don't realize the true power they have, the almighty dollar. It's just that simple. If you keep your hands in your pocket and you walk past the Walmart and you walk past the Asian company that does your hair and your feet, and you give that money to an African company and so on and so forth, that trillions and trillions of dollars that are spent every year starts to dwindle. Then after that, they'll send a representative to you and you slam the door in their face. And when it gets to a couple of $100 billion, you keep doing that. until they come to you with a certain amount of respect. And that's the power that you have, the almighty dollar. Why don't you just support your own? I've seen it 1,000 times. I'll tell people about this black-owned company, that black-owned company. They'll be like, nah, man, I got to do this research because XYZ. But you go spend $300 for one pair of shoes with Nike. Just one. You ain't getting nothing back but a tennis shoe.
The hoes like my Nike more than they like research. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I'm sorry. Bad joke. Go ahead.
That's just stuff like that. I mean, I've preached about starting my own football league, basketball league, and I've had my skin torn off my flesh, like I was some dummy. I don't know nothing. Buying islands, I'm a dummy. I don't know nothing. So it's best that I shut the hell up.
No, you can buy the island, but we got to know how to do.
Yeah. See, that's the first thought that comes to your mind. That's the first thought that comes to your mind. The people buying the island don't know what they're doing. They're not just buying the island. Of course, they plan 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years in advance. Why do you go in with the mindset that they don't know what they're doing?
No, I didn't say they don't. I didn't say that. I didn't say I go into that mindset. I didn't say that. What gave you that impression?
You can buy the island, but
you have to maintain and protect it. That's the but. I'm just rebuttaling Troy. Troy said you can buy the island. Yeah, Troy, but if you don't have the resources to protect it, then you just have an island that's not protected. If you don't have a standing army or something that protects this island, then you just wasted your time.
So basically, why would these group of people go into this situation and not plan it out for X amount of years and think of all the variables that's needed to be thought about? Touch base with everybody that's probably the best at doing this in every corner, and then do it. See what I'm saying? As soon as I said buy something black and build something black, doubt.
No,
But look,
it's a
conversation. No. Here's the thing, Troy. See, when you talk about,
when you talk about bringing in the best of the best, it ain't gonna all just be black folks. Sometimes you're gonna have to bring in a Pakistani guy or a white guy, an Asian guy, a Hispanic guy. Like, everybody ain't gonna be quote unquote black.
And again, why wouldn't these folks understand that? See what I'm saying? Why wouldn't they understand that? Because this is something that they've been planning out for 20, 30, or however many years. Why would they understand that?
Who are the folks?
I'm saying,
Who are the folks?
Who doing this, Troy? Who's doing this?
I don't have any names. We having a hypothetical conversation. See, and there it is. I'm having a hypothetical conversation, and that's that. I don't know who this and who that. It's just a hypothetical conversation about building and how we could maintain, how we could build a place of power. And immediately when you open your mouth about that, look at all the doubtful things you said already. I don't know who those people are.
What you call doubt, some might call planning.
Again, Mark, why would these folks go into this?
We're just bouncing it. We're just bouncing it off each other. That's all. You have a position.
Okay, but listen. Why would they go into the situation and not cover all their bases?
Because a lot of people don't cover their bases on everything, Troy. That's why businesses
bases.
See what I'm saying? All right.
Countries get conquered all the time, Troy. Look at you don't think Ukraine thought they was covering their bases? They're getting invaded right now.
Troy, mad. God damn, Troy.
No, we having a conversation. Ain't nobody mad. I ain't gonna speak for his emotion. Troy can speak for himself. But you get what I'm saying, Troy? Maybe Ukraine thought they covered their bases. They allies with other people, they trading with other people, but now they're getting invaded. You know what I'm saying? And they've been a country for a long time. Like, they didn't just buy an island. I'm just saying, it's a conversation. Go ahead, though.
Troy, don't be over there doing that Braxton Hartnebread crying back there. Come on.
His mic muted if he talking. No, don't do that. No, that's not patronizing, man. Troy,
I'm just chilling, man. You know, it's been said that I overtalk and I destroy
Nah,
families. So
Troy, but that was
no.
an open, direct conversation, and I'm trying to build with you. Like, you don't think Ukraine had their bases covered, and then they're being invaded?
I never gave them any thought because, see, my main focus was building for my own folks, so I never gave those folks any thought.
But it's not a those folks thing. It's a reality of what can happen in this world. You got in a world where, especially when you're dealing with men, I think that's the problem in society is when you deal with male-dominated societies who come up with developing of technologies to weaponize this shit and go into conquering other people's lands. For what? To move societies back out of competition, insecurities, and other shit. They just go in there to destroy shit. And that's always a thing. But also, you're speaking about building the island. This was I always say where people talk about their starting of their own nations. And I'm like, a lot of people just speak of what they want to do to get away from white folks. And that ain't always a problem because not every white person is a fucking enemy. Not every black person is a fucking brother or an ally to shit. But you just find those who work. Now, when people talk about starting the nations, what other shit are you able to produce? Because it's one thing to have land. If you're going to be, what is that? If you're going to be sovereign and exclusive from the rest of society, how do you power your society? What technologies do you bring to your society? What economic system do you have? How do you trade with other nations? Because you just can't develop and if you're going to build agriculture on your land, what you don't just trade fruit with one another and not do business with outside societies, like that's ignorant. And that's why I'm like, when I always used to hear these discussions and I'll be like, people are only speaking with what sounds good to them. And people have never taken the thought to fully think how societies actually operate. How do global societies function with one another? We live in a global world. Like you just can't be exclusive. You can't nationalize. This is the other thing. Like when people talk about the African nations, they thought it was good. They did shit that felt good, that looked good, to kick Europeans up out of their country, and then they had to figure out like, now what the fuck did we do? And now you see them bringing the motherfuckers back, but you have to learn how to go about the production of shit. What do you find inside the land? Like everybody like to love. That's why I don't always agree with motherfuckers, even though it's always love. Like I said, I can always disagree with people who are brothers to me and shit. But I'm gonna disagree because I know a lot of people don't take that time to fully think this shit out. Like you have to apply more shit that goes into actually running a society. You deal with societies, you start a society. How do you balance the society out from going to civil conflicts and shit? Now we divide it. Oh, this motherfucker got too much power. They want too much taxes. They take, and then how do you deal with that as a society? These are the things that come with it. Like what? I mean, you just got to think about that. Education.
You got to write a constitution.
Exactly. You got to govern shit. Then you're gonna create political parties. People bitch and moan about Democrats, Republicans. You're gonna deal with that in any society you fucking develop. That's why I be laughing when I hear people always talk about that shit. They just come for your vote that's the way it's gonna work in any society. And also you run with that with January 6th shit, host a civil fallout. But that's my points on that.
So I understand what Troy's saying. I understand what you're saying. I understand it. I get it. But one of my main concerns, I know you don't want to hear the but in my experience or observation, my main concern is, hypothetically speaking, right? We think of an island, we think of starting afresh, doing something new. My only main concern has always been, we haven't started to do anything here, really, technically. So, I mean, I would love to see that. I would love to see a Wakanda, but we haven't pushed our youth, the Generation Z, the millennials, the next generations to come, to reap from what is here. So what mentalities and mindsets are we taking to where we will go? Because for me, we cannot even get any one of us to participate in policing. We would rather say defund the police. And I'm not saying, when I say we, not every black person, I get it. But you hear a mantra of defund the police, but the problem is we don't have black people being police officers, because when we are police officers, we make fun of each other. So therefore, you're going to get people that are ready to work to come and do the job. So maybe we could start there. we can encourage the next generation, Generation Z and beyond. They need to become lawyers. They need to become lawmakers. Maybe our youth, our children need to understand how the laws of this land work. Because the more people we have in certain positions, sometimes the better it may be. That's the way I've always viewed it. But unless we don't push that or we don't encourage that, then we're going in a repetitive cycle of thought processes and of containment, because America is big. It's got enough for everyone. But we have to teach the next generations, the next youth, whoever, the children, to take a hold of these positions. Have you all ever seen some of these political meetings in the Hill? Like the first, the only thing I'm looking for is Black people in that room. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't even see a even number. You're lucky if you see one Black person. So perhaps if we could start by encouraging children, the youth, to go into these positions. Stop talking bad about police officers. We understand what some of them have done. But as long as we don't police ourselves, we won't be able to, get where we get. Most kids are, I want to be a popo, this, because we have talked and trashed them. But it's actually a job with great benefits. Most of these people do it because they come out of high school. Most of the times, that's one of the requirements if you're 21 and over. Because this is what I always realize. We always go, the cops are always patrolling us in our neighborhoods. But who in your neighborhood wants to be a police officer? Let's just talk about, I understand it's easy to come up with great solutions. But we really need to start at home. We really need to hammer down in the next generation, in the next children, that you too can be a Elon Musk. Why is it just you see male white billionaires? They too could do that. And then perhaps that generation may go build an island. They may have the wherewithal to do all of that with the infrastructure, the engineers, and everything else. But we got to start doing something here right now.
Oh, hey, let me just say this quick injection, man, because you hit a great point with the police thing. Because before the economic collapse, that like what I was pursuing was going to become a pilot. When I was going through that shit, I'm the only Black motherfucker going through this shit. Wasn't no Black people trying to pursue this shit. Even as a kid in my neighborhood, I sit there and watch planes and talk about planes all fucking day. That shit used to go over a lot of people in the neighborhood's fucking heads. Then, and as the economy began to collapse and that pilot shit then looked like a thing for me, I go to do the fucking law enforcement thing. They pushing this police shit out there in LA. And I go with Long Beach. Man, Long Beach offered this fucking, they had to be about 5,000 people coming to take this test. And the numbers could have been higher than that because they had to do multiple days. I probably could have counted less than, if it's 3,000 people, it's probably less than fucking 100 Black people going out there. And as I begin to move through the process and dwindle down towards where they selecting the candidates for the fucking academy, it's like two other Black people in that shit. And then the same thing going through LA, trying to go with LAPD and the LA sheriffs. You don't see us applying for these jobs, but we complain about this shit. My reason, and people say, well, your race played a part in that. No, my race didn't play a part in that. The economic collapse of 2008 played a part in all that shit. But you just don't see Black folks going into these fields. Even at the university I was going to, even in the engineering department, you don't see us in there. You don't see us pursuing a lot of shit because it's not type of push that we see in our communities. You go to political, and where people talk about where the party only comes after you every 4 years. No,
that's because we playing back.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We playing too much basketball when we can play basketball and do other shit on top of it. But go ahead, B.
But see, that's the thing I was just talking to about us being an entertainment class of people. Remember, we had a discussion, and I think the best way for us to get out of that is, like you said, engineering. Why we can't become the STEM class of people that does STEM, science, technology? You know what I mean? Why we not that people? But if you ask us who is the people that are the doctors in this society, what race are we gonna name? It's a certain race of people. If we ask you who are most of the Who are most of the engineers in this society? I work with engineers every day because I work at a lab. I can tell you who those people are. They come from India because that's the class that they are of people. If you start talking about things, because they push their people, I've never seen an Indian boy on a basketball court next to, I've never seen an Indian kid on a football field because they understand something. They pushing their children into certain fields to make sure that these, first of all, these are upstanding fields, they're high paying fields, and that's how they build family wealth. Not just by I'm starting a company and generational wealth. No, generational wealth is what we all eat. So how we all eat is instead of us being the entertainment athlete class of America, we should be we should be in these high elite positions. We should be the doctors of America. When they think of doctors in America, they should think of black people. When they think of all these engineers, that should be us. We got to abandon these fields. I know it's going to hurt us because it's easy to drop your kid to take him to the football game. It's easy to do this, but it's harder to put him in a field that we're not familiar with. And that's what it is. We're just not familiar with these fields and we don't have examples in front of us. And I think it starts with us stop being a form system for basketball, stop having our children be form systems for basketball, football, and entertainment. If you ask most of these little kids in the neighborhood growing up what they want to be a rapper because they see wealth and they see I guess coolness with it. But if you ask them about being a doctor maintains the same living, if not more consistent than a rapper. But I digress.
And
Well,
that's go ahead.
okay. Well, let me say this. All these, honestly with you, we actually know these fields. We're in these fields once you scratch behind the surface and all that, because there's a lot of black engineers. There's a lot of black scientists. I know a football player, Peter Bullweir. He retired from boxing young. His father is a rocket scientist, and that's the field that he got into with his dad after he retired. All these things exist, but what's being shown on the other hand is two different things. I give you Tyler Perry as an example because I go back further, but Tyler Perry's the closest one. So when his first movie, he was doing plays and making a lot of money, on the Chitlin circuit. Then he said, "I want to go to Hollywood." None of those studios believed in him. No, he had the same situation. Very few black people wanted to fund him, so he funded his own movie. He simply rented their studio. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. When he was sawing up that couch, that was in his own house. That's his house. That movie made $100 million. He got 80% of that money. After that, they knew better than to doubt him, and now they wanted to work with him, and they started opening some more doors for people. That's how it's always been. There has to be one sacrificial lamb. It always starts off with that lamb, and then you go from there. It's the point. It's just that people are afraid to die, and death doesn't come physically. It comes emotionally, spiritually, and all that. Can you take that hit if you failed and you spent all this money and time and you flopped? That's only the beginning, man. That's only the beginning. There's so much more to get out there. So much more.
But which I agree with, and changing the language could be the simplest and most closest example to start to incorporate for people that have young children in the house, right? Because we talked about they don't have exposure to some of these other things because exactly, entertainment is what they see, but who's paying for the entertainment in the house? We talked about engineers, the STEM programs and stuff like that, right? Let me tell you something. Despite what you hear about immigration and immigrants, America is throwing university experiences in third world countries. I have 3 of my guy friends. One is a mechanical engineer, one is an electrical engineer, and one did a PhD in something I'd never heard of to do with engineering. Coming right out of, they get these full scholarships from these private big universities. Coming out, they got jobs filed for their stay, you know, green card citizenship and everything. And they're coming out with making lots of money. They're going to places like India to get people for engineering, and even just the 3 friends of mine that I mentioned. But because nobody, I always said why. And my friend, one of my friends that's electrical engineer, he said because no one wants to come into this. Like, you know, I was already working. I was like, shoot, I better become an engineer. But this is the reality. This is the reality. And that's why I say perhaps it's starting at home. Yes, we don't see Black engineers and so forth on TV as much as we do see people shaking their butts on TikToks and so forth. But we just need to maybe impart in the youth that there's other ways of making money. Tyler Perry is a great example, but we don't have to have 100 Tyler Perrys trying to do the same thing if that's not really what you want to do. You want to do it because he made money and you want to make money, or you want to become a billionaire. There's so much we could do. And like what Reggie was saying is true, and that's what hurts me the most. And I'm not saying that we all have the solutions, but I remember having this conversation with some girl that had come out of Mizzou. She wanted to be a doctor. She wound up getting pregnant, but she had a 4-year degree. And I told her, why don't you come over to radiology? The hospitals, there's so many modalities. But I seen as a people, and it's fine because that's what we're comfortable with, and I understand it. We'll gravitate to what everyone else we see with the same skin tone doing. We're comfortable. And she was like, I don't know, I just need to go do something quick. I was like, you could do this quick and come out 6+ figure in income. It's like, even though I've done my part, like literally every radiology department I've ever worked in nationwide, because I used to travel, I probably saw 2 Black people. One was a girl named Toy from Texas. The other was a guy from Chicago named Lawrence. And I'm like, why aren't we here? I understand there's so many, we want to do what's comfortable. Somebody has a funeral home, so I want to open a funeral home because that's what we're all doing. And that's why I'm always like, maybe we can start imparting in the youth to think outside the box. My 20-year-old sister, she came out of high school, a couple years ago. She's 20. And I had told her already in 8-9 months, you can be a cloud architect. Before you turn 21, you could be making 100,000+ a year. And you can move up and you could be making 250,000 by the time you're probably 26, 27. These are just things, computers, sciences, things that we can encourage. She didn't know. She was going the traditional route. She was doing her first few years of college, and like anyone else, she just wanted to go launch into something. But here you have it. That's why I'm like, if we know information, impart it to the next generation, impart it to the youth. Let them think outside the box because it changes things. It can change the trajectory.
Yeah, I want to say that what Brandon was talking about with how we got entertainers, and it's funny, like speaking about how so many people chase after trying to just be basketball players and this and that. But when you listen to some of the top athletes, their goal ain't to push their kids into sports. Their goal is to push their kids through business programs, other advanced programs. Like even listening to Shaq yesterday, where he said he don't want his kids going into playing sports, where he was speaking about the people who end up signing the checks, the ones who they end up having to do business deals, go to school for other shit. They ain't chasing after bat hoop dreams and shit. And that's kind of really what you hear. You hear the same thing with Floyd, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, many of the greats. They don't push their kids to pursue that sports shit, to just entertain people. Their thing is to be around for fucking multi-generations of other athletes and to make money off of that shit. But I don't know. That's the vision that should be pushed. And I always remember this shit. Like you go back into me being raised as a kid in the early 80s. And I think this has been such a detriment for kind of the spirit of young Black folks for attaining like dreams into being professional shit. That anytime Black people back in the day used to see a Black person as a doctor, they had issues with it. How that nigga get there? Oh, he must not be that good. Black people do that shit. They see a black motherfucker flying a plane. Oh man, I don't know about this shit. They get leery about that shit. They see a black person. I mean, you name professional shit back in the fucking 80s. I'm pretty sure they did in the 60s and 70s. If they seen a black person in a suit doing some shit, he was probably lesser than, they didn't feel too trustworthy of him doing whatever it was, that they will feel more comfortable and more reassured had it been a white person in these positions. So that's some of the shit that many professional black people dealt with. And as kids, you looking at that shit, this ain't a field I should go in. Like, shit, we ain't that good. That's the kind of shit we were getting pushed on us by our own fucking idiotic people from back in these time periods. And that shit, that mindset has to change.
So I'm about to say something very controversial based off of a comment that I read. And this is just my opinion and my observation. And it was in the chat about black abortions, right? And I know I saw something about Margaret Sanger. And then I saw something, the talking narrative is always Planned Parenthood is killing the black babies.
Talk about this shit. Thank you.
Huh? Yeah. So, like I said, I know it's controversial. This is my observation. I don't aim to just be encapsulated in the same mind frame as everyone. And it bothered me for the longest time because I heard that narrative. Planned Parenthood is killing all of our black babies. And sure enough, if you Google the highest percentage of abortions by race, it is black babies. But this is what I've told people being in the medical industry. The last time I checked, Planned Parenthood does not knock on anyone's door. It doesn't wrangle anybody's hand. It doesn't force anyone to come to their clinic. You have to sign a consent. You got to get the ultrasound. Then they ask you again. Then you got to sign a consent. I'm in the medical industry. Taking ultrasounds is part of my job. So I want to always nip this in the bud when I hear it. The issue is going back into the black community. And for me as a woman is where I go back and saying, as a mother energy that I could be, and or mothers that are out there as well, we got to do better with our girls. Planned Parenthood is not killing black babies at a higher rate because they're inserting themselves in their homes. We need to equip our daughters with tools. And then everybody gets upset at that. I'm not necessarily saying give them tools to do whatever they want. Tools can be educating your children on what is going on out there. I speak about girls because I'm a woman, right? Because everyone always has a rebuttal. Well, what about the boys? I'm not a boy. Okay, fathers got to connect with their sons too. But last time I checked, it's not boys that are going to abort black babies, right? Yes, they help in the making of them. But like I told people, we always react to the conclusion and don't try to make sense out of where it started. If we start off by helping our daughters, talking to them about the high risks of having premarital sex or, having loose sex or whatever the case is, but these are not conversations people are willing to have. And then you could go as far as all the tools that you need to equip your children with, like in life. You wouldn't have black women aborting babies at a high rate. Once again, Planned Parenthood is not inviting anybody. It's demographics in businesses. When they want to open up a KFC, they don't open it over here. They won't open it in the creme de la creme neighborhoods, the gated communities with where all these Cardinal fans live or whatever. They open it where people will come buy some KFC. So Planned Parenthood is going to be strategically placed where they know they'll have customers. So even as men, uncles, brothers, husbands, you can still talk to your daughters too. You can still teach them about caring for their bodies, loving their bodies, and how they should be treated and so forth. You could do that as well. But I just want to demystify the conclusion that Planned Parenthood is taking our babies or killing our babies. Understand, it's our children. that are going to consent for the procedure. You have to consent. It's a medical procedure. Why is that even happening? That's how we should be holding ourselves accountable as adults if we want to see numbers go down. That's my 2 cents about that.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you said, girl, behind the mic, and I can tell you why uh, Planned Parenthood and KFC and all these places they target our communities. I can tell you why they target black people because, especially, well, I'll say black people here in America because black people throughout the diaspora is not the same, and it's because they have a true history. And you said something that really blew my mind that stuck with me. You said that you were taught how you were taught about your body, that you were taken to a woman and she taught you about your body. So you knew that your body was sacred. You knew certain things. So it wasn't a mystery. And also, probably in your culture, when a woman gets pregnant, most of the time she's married and and will be taken care of. The thing about this society is that most black women, well, I can't say most, but a good majority of the black women who end up aborting babies, most of the time, I can probably, if we were able to look at their marital status, we can see that they probably aren't married. And also, if we look at their economic status, we can see that they probably are what you would consider in poverty. So it goes hand in hand. Now, what I would like us to do, like what you talked about, girl behind the mic, that was a rite of passage. That was stripped away from us here in America. As black people here, we don't have rites of passage. Every other community has rites of passage. Hispanic community has it. The Jewish community has it. We don't have it because we were stripped away. And that may be something that our brothers and sisters who come from the motherland, like you, who know these things, like I never heard this, and it's good for you to share because with knowledge then comes the power. So that's how I see that. It's just out of ignorance. It's out of ignorance, and we need rites of passage. When our boys turn 13, like I watched Shaka Zulu, certain things happen. Like those are the things that we're missing, and that's because we're not connected to nothing. You have a sense of who you are and a sense of pride because you're connected to something. You come from something. A lot of us don't come from nothing. I
But
don't want to say we come from dope fiends and prostitutes because we much more than that. Go
but
ahead.
but Brandon, it don't take for you to have to be connected to a motherland, any of this other type shit. You can start off from the point of today and change a lot of this shit.
But you got to
Like
be
we can,
connected to something, right?
no, you
But you
don't.
got it. That's what I'm saying. We have to start
But,
our rituals, right?
but
You're
look,
right,
but
Reg.
it don't
We
take
got to start
rituals, Brandon.
something.
It don't take rituals. It's like I'll be looking back on how fucked up we was coming up. And it doesn't take rituals to where it takes for what you teach the young folks. When we're coming up, we get older, our older cousins, our older cats in the neighborhood. Oh, you ain't getting no pussy. Oh, you ain't getting none of this. And now as a kid,
That's a
you begin
ritual. That's a ritual.
it's fucked up mentality in the neighborhood, and it pushes young kids to be drivers of how much pussy you gonna get. And I fell victim into that shit for a very fucking long time of just chasing after women trying to fuck, not really to impregnate a chick. Because if it came down to that, of course I would have raised a kid because of the parents I come from. But we begun to where we become fucking very fucking hyper promiscuous as fuck. We over sexualize the women. I remember as a fucking, I go back because sometimes I laugh about the shit about being a young fucking second grader.
That comes from.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. No, I was about to say, as a young second grader, humping on little
No, I was
girls.
just chiming in. I was saying that comes from.
No, go ahead, Bree. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just agreeing with your point. I think we're on delay. I'm sorry, Reg. I don't want to interrupt you, man. I was just agreeing with your point. We over
Oh,
sexualized because of slavery, because they bred us. So that's how we think of our women. And that's how we kind of treated our women. And we have to be.
but even beyond the slavery thing, like we can't keep running back to like 200-year reasons for why we keep doing 200-year-old shit. Like it's even more mature than, I mean, immature than that as far as time goes. You can continue to move 5 years from now. But even in my time period, like from a kids in the 80s, we dealt with hearing that shit. We dealt with people in the 60s to where they grew up fucking idolizing pimps. Wasn't no pimps in slavery, but we continue to gravitate towards what's easiest, and what's easy is ignorance, rather than doing what's hard. And when you accept what's hard, you identify how things hard, you begin to make them fucking easy. You have to balance them shits out. But our pursuit of women, the way we treat women, and also it ain't even just about young boys, it's the way that women treat themselves. A lot of girls have fucking a lot of women hate to hear it. A lot of women have been taught how to be hoes. Why a lot of girls conduct and function in this world is hoes. They pussy is of value. What do they bring to the table? Just pussy. They can't bring anything else to a household. Nothing more to themselves. A lot of women feel that to be able to think and have a brain of intellect takes them away from being a woman. A lot of women have been set back wrong. So if a woman is a value of where her pussy is just a certain way, then why wouldn't a boy pursue that? And sometimes if a woman elevates herself a young man, we gravitate towards that. But I remember back in the days, like I say, in the elementary, humping on girls, trying to look down their shirt when they titties growing little nubs. We looking down and think we looking at titties, tapping our friends, look at her titties, or especially getting the teacher to bend over to look at her titties. Just over sexualized, hormones raging like a motherfucker. You catch young girls by the time we in junior high, 5th and 6th grade, girls getting caught sucking dick in class, fucking behind the fucking school buildings, behind bleachers. This type of shit goes on because we're over sexualized, and not so much with just the fact of slavery. It's everything we inject into our own communities. And then a lot of people like to do the industry doing, like, we like to put a lot of shit to them white folks, but a lot of white folks just gonna profit off what they see fucked up coming out of the community and shit. And we got to change that shit, because outside of industry music, which a lot of people point to, I can introduce you to some localized fucking hip hop music that's probably about 50 times worse than what you hear coming from out the industry that would never get airplay. But you best believe there's a bunch of people in clubs shaking their asses and shooting the motherfucking club up before the fucking last call for alcohol come around. But we have to change shit, and it starts in the household. And a lot of households are so fucking dysfunctional that it's gonna take effort to break through that shit. But it starts with us. It don't start nowhere else with us. Ain't no fucking supremacy in white folks. They suckers. But we gotta fix our shit. Content and music, not just industry music. That local shit is way the fuck out. But go ahead. Troy was saying he very few women with the mindset of being. I can introduce you to a lot of girls with whole mindsets. Look on Instagram, Troy.
Oh yeah, I agree, Troy. I mean, I know women with horror mindsets. So, I think Reg, when I was talking about ritual, I was just meaning something that you do over and over again. That strengthens you. So, like praying. In Islam, you pray 5 times a day. That's a ritual, but it's for you. Those what I would like, girl behind the mic. Girl behind the mic, can you tell us, as far as you know, about the men in your culture, and as far as women being pregnant out of wedlock, and the ways of the culture? Because I would want to learn more about that and how the men go about courting.
Okay. I heard your question there. So here's the thing. I can speak off when I was growing up. And so when I was growing up, I was the oldest girl child. And everything they did was training me, grooming me to be a wife. It was the unsaid expectation. And like I said, I'm speaking for myself. And so I had to learn to cook probably when I was like 11, 12. I had to learn how to clean the house, like domestication. And once again, I like to preface that and say because there's a dowry system. So when you get of marriage age, the men have to pay for the wife, the bride to be. And so you have to come with all of that. It's like buying a car and you want it loaded, right? You just don't want a basic car, you want everything in it. Otherwise, the few features it has, the less money you want to pay. So a daughter can mark up the dowry with more features. You're domesticated, or you're educated, or you're still a virgin. So that was the pressure in my culture. Is it the pressure today in 2022? I don't know. I know that with the internet being available to everyone, everyone's on TikTok, and there's a lot of influences. I don't know. But I know as the oldest girl child, those were my unsaid expectations. I was told that I was going to get married, I was going to be sent off to the village to learn the village life. So it was things that I grew up being told. Now, growing up, the men, I have an older brother, and they were prepared at their job in life was to know and understand to save money for their wife when they get of marriage age. So their job was to grow up, figure it out, get a job, go to school, and know that you will be a provider. You will pay for your bride. You should have all the dowry money for the woman that you want to marry. So
Who taught them this? Girl behind the mic, who taught them?
So it's
Who's
for me.
teaching them this? Where they get?
So your relatives, right? So for me, I say an unsaid rule. My mom never told me like, this is what I need you to do, this is what I need you to do. But it was like when I was cleaning or you're cooking, it's like you gotta cook it right. If you don't do it right, your husband will reject you. Those are my unsaid rules. For my brother, the uncles, my dad's brothers, it was never in our household. It was not our parents directly. And then I remember I was sent off to one of my auntie's house from my mom's side, a female, and then I think I was like 13 or 14. And it was really awkward when I look back in hindsight, 2020, but she was teaching me about my body, my private parts, and all this other stuff, and then all these other things that I had to do with my private parts to prepare for my husband. Needless to say, there was no slicing of anything, but it was what I was introduced to. Um, so those for me as a female growing up, that was physical. Somebody really showed me my body, whatever, talked about it. But in our household, it was the gestures. It was like clean again. You didn't do a good job. We don't want you to get returned when you get married. Do this right, or next time cook this better because you're gonna get married one day, and we don't want you to get returned because it'll be an embarrassment to the family. So that was it. But no one ever said, okay, from now on, we're going to domesticate you so that when you get married, no. It was just that I knew growing up, this is what they're setting me up for because that's what they kept saying. So, but like I said, in 2022, I don't know. People got TikToks and all kinds of stuff. I hear in some people in our country, they got baby mamas. I have a best friend in Canada who has all her family back home. So they're people, but I can only speak for myself. And that was the other thing, they teach you to wait till marriage. If you had a child, if you became pregnant, growing up in my culture, if you became pregnant, they would send you off. They didn't care how old you are. They would tell you go pack one suitcase and they would send you off to whoever got you pregnant. That's it. And there's like a term that I can't translate in English, but that's what you'd have
I
to
like
do.
that. Repeat that again, sis. Repeat that again, sis.
Man,
Sis, repeat
shit
that
is
again.
wrong,
What is the
Brandon.
behavior when a girl becomes pregnant?
So
Brandon,
if a girl,
Bro, that's
shit is
beautiful.
wrong.
Reg, what you don't realize is I'm gonna tell you why, Reg. Let me tell you why. Because what it does, it makes sure that the person that if you do something, you have to be responsible for what you did. And it teaches that. There's so basically you can't run the Planned Parenthood and try to hide what you did. That makes people in the culture that makes people in the culture be more responsible. That means that if you have promiscuity, that is not going to be accepted. That it's something to be done about it. That is shame because you didn't go about having it the proper way. It's a proper way to do everything. That's all. But go ahead, girl behind the mic. This is beautiful.
But let me say this to your point. You heard of domestic violence, right? So you force somebody into shit, you deal with those type of situations when you force shit like that.
Yeah,
she said she wasn't forced, Reg. You heard what she said. She said she was not forced.
If you
She
get
said
pregnant,
if a person was pregnant, they're
If you
forced to
become
go
pregnant.
pack a bag and go to somebody's house. That's forcing some shit.
Nope, that's not what she said. Repeat
kinda like
what you
the color
said, girl behind the mic. No, she said what she said was the person who made you pregnant is the person that you should go to. I had a daughter. I have a daughter. If my daughter was in my house and that happened, that's exactly what I'd have told my daughter. Let's go find the dude who made you pregnant. Where is he? Because he has a responsibility on his hands. And
What
I
if
would
it's
and
like-
I would
what
do
if
everything
it's
in my
like
power to
Brandon?
make sure
If he's
that if
not
I
trying to
could, that
take
he
you-
accepted his
If he's
responsibility.
trying to run away from that, Brandon, you're gonna force her to live with somebody who'll probably beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, what if it's like Turner?
Probably kill her. Yeah. You deal with a lot of that shit.
I didn't say live. See, y'all talking about. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you lay down, this is what I know. I had a baby from a one night stand. No matter what, you deal with what you did. You deal with what you did. Me and her mother went through hell, but I dealt with what I did. So you have to deal with what you did. I ain't saying that
So you
somebody
married
should
her?
be beat on. Wait,
That's 'cause
I ain't
you a
saying
man.
nobody should be beat on. I ain't
Brandon,
saying
Did you marry her?
that they should be mistreated.
But that's
No, I didn't marry her.
But that's because you manned up. It's a lot of dudes out here who ain't trying to man up. You can't force no girl to go live with that. You got to bear that responsibility to keep your kid. Maybe you try to get it out that young motherfucker's ass to take care of this child. But if not, you don't force that. You fuck this motherfucker. We gonna raise this child.
Then that's all. But think of the responsibility. That's all, though, Reg.
Yeah,
But think about it. Once you start showing that the onus and it's going in the culture teaches responsibility, then a lot of that stuff stops happening. I bet you when a girl behind the mic was growing up, I'm gonna let her speak, that she didn't see a lot of unwed pregnancies. She didn't see it.
But
But go ahead, girl behind the mic. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep.
Brandon, they societies are fucked up and men are fucked up to women. But I'll let girl behind the mic finish your point.
So when I was growing up, I didn't.
Man, that's a
see,
beautiful society.
I didn't see people pregnancies out of wedlock. You were frowned upon if you were not a virgin. So there was a lot of stuff going on, right? There was cultural shame and stuff and so forth like that. But I do want to say, absolutely. Listen, I feel in life there's never ever a balance. Yes, you can send. I didn't like it because it was scary. They will send you off to go live with anyone. The society is very male dominated. So you go send your daughter to go with somebody, she got pregnant, he could beat her, he could abuse her. Maybe they just happen to have a one night stand and they're not compatible. So now she's forced to live with this person and in their house. And it doesn't become a conducive situation for anyone. Right? Like I say, for me, I just personally speaking, I knew that my heart was in the West. I just wanted to be in the West. I don't know if I could even do that part of my culture. I as a woman, I couldn't. I couldn't. There are people stories. There's so many horror stories because when a man pays dowry for you, he owns you. There is no women's rights. There is no feminist movement. When he pays the dowry for you, he owns you. That means if he wants to have his way with you, even if you're his wife, he can forcefully. If he wants to beat you, there was all these people. It was really, people had become desensitized to where they make jokes saying so-and-so's husband would come home and call her and say, come over, it's time for your slaps. You get beat. That police is, when I was growing up, it was majority men. They don't care. They'll come out. There's no such thing as a domestic disturbance. They'll probably high five the man and walk away and tell the woman, you should have been doing what he told you to do. So, like I said, you need a balance. You know, it works for people that are there. I'm not saying that I'm better than or less than. I just, from a young age, I didn't like how it made me feel. I wasn't put on a pedestal to be anything more than domesticated. Nobody took interest on what would you like to be when you grow up. What are your hopes and dream, little girl? It was like, oh no, you didn't cook that right. You could get returned. So I'm living on the edge, thinking I will get returned. I won't be satisfactory to my marriage home, and I didn't like that life. That's just me, you know. And so in the back of my mind, I had this thing where I was like, I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna go overseas for school, and I'm gonna get married with somebody from overseas. That was me from a young age. I rejected that. It works. It's a culture that works. It works for the people, like everywhere else, I guess, you know. But just my personal experience.
Yeah, man, thank you for saying that. And then this is the other thing, like B, I don't understand you, like, because a lot of people, especially black folks, they reject the American society, but American society just ain't built upon a white conscription to how society functions. Like black Americans have a function society. It's not always the most functional. There is a lot of dysfunction to it, but there is a lot of beauty in a way in which the essence of how black society runs. It's just bad. We have let too much nigga shit infest in it and manifest too many rules to it and shit. But the shit with like old African ways and methods and it ain't even just in Africa. It's a lot of that region over there that has so much of a male-dominated society, and they just look so little upon women. Women jobs are only to, you know, be submissive and stay pregnant type shit. But those dudes over there are fucking suckers. I mean, that style of paying to buy a wife like that shit is sucker shit. Rule over them. But then over here we deal with a lot of sucker shit because a lot of women have lost their way in with shit as well. But like, I don't know, it's gonna always be a hard balance. That's why I always stated I've never been with marriage. Even when I was a kid, when I used to observe shit, I used to always be on some, and I live kind of my life like that. I ain't give a fuck. Even if I was with a chick and she my lady, she gotta have her own place. I want to have mine. I'm not with all that traditional shit and you got to do this for me. You got to cook. You got no wait. The way my mom raised me and shit, when they're bringing this up, I know how to do a lot of shit on my own. Do my own cleaning, cooking, and all that shit. So when it comes to a woman, like I don't want a woman that she comes in and think her job is to clean after me and do this and that. Like, nah, fuck that. I ain't your daddy. I ain't your ruler. We do this shit together. You do your end of shit, but I prefer like to be on my own shit. But a lot of that shit, like they women can't look, they women can't have conversations, they catch a woman talking to a man in some friendly shit, they ready to knock her fucking head off. Like these motherfuckers are some jealous ass people over in them regions of the world. They suckers, man. And shit, you see them over here. I see a lot of them.
Or you could just be like the people here.
Oh wait, what? Oh,
or you could just be like
cut you off. My bad.
People here and have as many side pieces as you want. I'm sorry. You can have as many side pieces as you want. Women are making songs called WAP and talking about how they don't cook and clean. They can't cook, they can't clean. You have if I was to take a snapshot of African black women in America, I would look at Cardi B. I wouldn't look at Michelle Obama because every one of those women, you've seen them twerk. All of the women that have grace, that's the first thing we do is start twerking. So, girl behind the mic's culture is beautiful. Yes, it's negative aspects, like she said. It's not a balance, but I would rather. You said pay for a wife. The thing about it is that's just like over here. Women just don't admit it. I mean, it's just different over there. They're just more formal. They'll tell you if you ain't got no money, you can't get no pussy. Right? That's what they'll tell you. I don't want no broke man. I need a man with some money. That's what a dowry is. That's to show that you have worked hard and you're trying to show yourself approved. So this is what I have to offer for your. This is showing that I worked hard, that I put in. I have land. I have this. I have livestock. It's the same as rich men offering up their bank accounts, Reg. It's the same as Russell Wilson marrying Sierra. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's just done different. So
Yeah, so
I
over
think
here,
that if we
over
took
here.
some from the old,
Now I was gonna say they do it over here too. You just pull up on Figaro and dial it for a few hours and send it back. No, I'm just playing.
pull up like Crip Mac be doing.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, to your point, man, I know exactly what you talk about because we both from Texas. So I see the culture every day. So I agree with you on that. Culture makes a difference. If you ain't got culture, it gives you a sense of confidence. Stuff you ain't got to think about. I've never seen no other group of people in America huddle up to talk about their issues, but Black Americans, and it's because we don't got culture. So that makes a difference. Culture does make a difference. Now, where I disagree with you is the over sexualization of Black people. I think that's just a human thing because America had the women's sexual revolution in 1960. Technically, Black people wasn't even free yet. So that wasn't our movement, that was theirs. So they just as sexual as us. But they try to make it seem like we should be ashamed for being sick. Because if we want to be all the way real about it, they was twerking in Africa. I don't know about y'all, but I like ass. I like booties. I mean, women are
Girl
always
Just
gonna
behind the
be.
mic, did they twerk in Africa? Is that
just say booties with pussy between
Tribal
it.
dancing. Tribal
Just,
dancing.
I still want to. Okay, let me answer that. But in the future, I still want. I'm on a journey to find out why most Black men love behinds like that. But I'm a girl because I don't get it. But we weren't twerking. Here's the thing: you also have to understand now. When I was growing up, we did not have that much influence of not that much influence of Western culture. So if I needed it, I'll go to the video shop and get it, or go to my best friend's house where they had a satellite dish and we would watch MTV and kind of have probably like an hour to an hour and a half, no more than 2 hours of that, probably once a month. And so we didn't, even though here's what I need to be, just to be frank with. Okay, so it was a culture, Black American culture, because would see. I mean, that's they didn't on satellite. We didn't have every American channel, but MTV was in South Africa, so we were able to see it in Zimbabwe, and so yeah, there was a keen wanting to be like Aaliyah and TLC, Total, and stuff like that, but we were not. We couldn't. There was no twerking, because we didn't have an audience to twerk to. Um, and on our regular TV, which is what most people had, to have a satellite was like to have probably something out of the world. Probably when satellite or cable started in America, I could fathom it may have been very, very expensive. So when I was growing up, not everyone had a satellite dish. So our regular television had one channel, one that started at 4:30 p.m. and ended by after midnight, and that was it. But there was nothing super influential with Western culture. It was really like outdated shows. If anything, even Oprah's show was outdated. So I'm answering to just say we didn't have an audience to twerk to or do any of that. And everything, we're growing up, everything where I went was strict. So I lived in a strict home, and then our schooling system was strict. We had primary school, which is like elementary and junior high combined, is grade 1 through 7. So when you're the minute you're in primary school, it's like almost like, I don't want to disrespect the services. I was going to say military, but it's like you have to have a certain color of socks. We had uniforms, everything had to match. Ankle socks, same shoes, hats, blazers, hair has to be a certain way. No nail polish, no makeup, no earrings. So we're already in this system where everything is just cookie cutter. There's no flexibility. There's nothing. So especially as a young girl, I don't know much about nail polish. I don't know much about makeup. I wouldn't even be able to tell you where to get it when I was growing up. And then you go to high school, it's the same thing as primary school, strict. And then in primary school, you're forced. Okay, it's compulsory, forced. Sports, But if you have a doctor's note, of course, for a medical reason, you are excused. But everyone in primary school had to choose a sport. It wasn't like if you feel like it or you don't, you had to be physically doing something after school. In high school, it's the same thing, very strict. Your school uniforms have to be below your knees. You have to wear certain socks, certain shoes, hats. You couldn't talk, you couldn't cuss, you couldn't, everything is just regulated. No nail polish, no earrings, no makeup. No, we probably got away with relaxers, but that's about it, of course, and braids. But no Western influences, no weaves, no any of that. But that does, that was when I was growing up. I can only imagine with social media, the exposure that people are getting and what they're doing. But when I was growing up, it was super strict and basic. So there wasn't any twerking because, we went out and danced to songs, but no twerking like, like TikToks and stuff like that. But we didn't have social media, so yet globally.
Oh, them big booty ass girls in Africa shaking their ass now.
Yeah, that's why I think so on social media. Yeah.
But Africa's so big, it's hard to say one place is doing.
Yeah, because they've been corrupted.
So I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel's heard of Sarah Bartman, right?
I have.
Wait, who is she?
The girl, the lady that
of
had
course.
Was that you, Red?
No. I don't know who she is.
I thought you asked me. Of course, I'm like, what? He trolling me. Oh, okay. So Sarah Bartman was the lady that had a big butt, and then white people like overly sexual, made her overly sexual, and then like she didn't even get no rest. Even when she died, they stuffed her body and sent her to like England or somewhere. Like she just recently, the family recently got her body. Like she was on display, but she was like in like the 1700s. But the point I was making with that story is she was just naturally herself and how she dressed. Somebody came and made her over hypersexual. She just was who she was. The one thing that's common to human beings is dancing. I'm pretty sure twerking didn't just start in the last 50 years. Twerking has probably been here. We just put a title on it. I think that in Africa, like I said, it's really, really big. And I think that they absolutely were dancing and twerking way before. I don't think twerking is the issue to our problems. I think we focus too much on stuff that don't matter.
Bossy Scholar, you can't say that. We just have a person, Bossy Scholar.
But Brandon,
Bossy Scholar, we just have a person from Africa. She told you.
But
go ahead, Reg. I want to hear this.
Brandon, a man's rite to passage in many African nations is through sex with a woman.
I was gonna jump in. Women.
No, that's not true. That's not
women
true.
have always.
Red, you just made that
Hold on a
up.
second, Brandon.
No, it's true, bro. It's true.
Yeah, but women have always had the power to influence those that are gonna make change and go from there. I think I heard the comment about women who have any power. They do have power because behind the scenes, there's always a woman that is standing by that great man or that good man, and she's telling him, okay, maybe you shouldn't have took that step. Maybe you should go this way and see how it works out.
Her name must be Jetta Pinkett.
Like you take Obama and you take Michelle. She didn't start out behind him when he woke up one day and said, I want to run for president. She was like, yeah. But then as time went on, that was his tuning fork, with all the noise. They could block out all the noise and just be people. They could just be people. They could just be a couple. He would sit around and actually talk to his wife. And his wife would give him some guidance, just like a mother would guide a son or a daughter or a child, There's always been a strong woman, a strong black woman somewhere. I was raised by, my grandmother and my mother and stuff like that. And my father, he came and did what he did, uncles, all of that. So, there's always a strong woman somewhere.
I agree.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true all the time. People want to have this fantasy that more people, yeah, but that's not That's not necessary. Most powerful men are not listening to their wives.
Right. They be like,
So,
where the hoes at?
if y'all believe that Martin Luther King and hey, man, I didn't say that. I'm just saying,
They
if
pay.
y'all believe that
That's not
Martin
what
Luther
he's saying,
King
Brandon.
was sitting taking
That's not what
advice
he's
from
saying.
Coretta Scott King, or hold on, let me finish. Or Malcolm X was taking advice from Betty Shabazz, or JFK was taking advice from Jacqueline Kennedy. Yeah, no. Most of the time, it doesn't work like that. That dynamic does not. It just doesn't work like that. I think that's just a
Okay, well, in Martin's case and in Malcolm's case, Betty was his most trusted advisor when all the lights were, when they found a quiet place, like I said.
That's not true.
And he got, I'm giving, this
Yeah,
is all an
because
opinion. That's all an
Malcolm
opinion
didn't
thing,
trust
man.
her.
That's an opinion thing. I'm just giving my opinion, just like you giving your opinion, because you are not 100% correct, and neither am I.
I'm telling you
So
a
allow me to
fact
give my
because I
opinion.
know based
Okay,
on the
okay.
dynamics of the NOI.
Cool your foot, man. Cool your foot.
No,
Unless you were
based on
in
the
the
Nation
room
of
with them,
Islam, that's not true.
unless you were in the room with them 24/7, you don't know nothing's fact. Unless you were in that room with that couple, you don't know anything's fact. You're going off what people have told you. As I'm stating, in my opinion, keywords
Malcolm
there,
X,
my
you could
opinion,
Google. No,
my
no, no, no.
opinion, my
No.
opinion.
That's not true, Troy.
No, just
I did research on this.
finish, Brandon. Brandon,
Troy,
you
I'm
can do
telling you
research all you
facts.
want. It's still somebody else's words. It's still someone else's words. Unless you were in the room with that couple, it's not fact. Okay, so allow me to give my opinion, man. Stop trying to
Malcolm X has letters
shove your
that
facts
he
down my
written where
throat.
he talks about the relationship between.
Still running his mouth.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Malcolm
man.
and
I just go on mute.
Malcolm and Betty Shabazz talked about it. Think she couldn't go home. Shit.
I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he's
Yeah,
saying
Malcolm
like,
did not confide in Betty. That was not his confidant.
yeah, I take you at face value, Brandon, because I'm pretty sure you studied this stuff, but I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying like Troy was a war that was between two places, and it was started because of a woman. He's saying like they have other influence. Women do have strengths because they're not masculine, where they can influence in other ways, persuasion, whatever. That is true. That's true. Even if you pick up the Bible and read it, like Samson Delight, whatever you believe in, you can find evidence to support that. So
Oh no, that's very true.
that part
You can
I
drive
agree
through.
with.
That's
You can
called
drive through any
manipulation.
hood. You can drive through any hood and see niggas shooting at each other, talking about because of the side. No, it's because of some woman.
But to the larger point, Brandon, I
Yeah,
just
and the
disagree.
only point that I was making on the
Oh, Brandon got a major delay in his. You got a delay, Brandon.
Yeah, I thought I was cutting them off. I thought it was me on my side. That's why I kept muting my mic. But yeah, to Brandon's point, man, I agree with him on the culture thing, man, because like I said, I see it all the time. Like when I talk to my Mexican friends and I ask them about their culture and stuff, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I get envious, bro, because it'd be like they got some their unity is based off their cultures. Ours is just based off an attempt at brotherhood. And even then, man, we see a lot people tearing people down, and we harder on ourselves than any other race could ever be. Like when Monique was going through her stuff, man, black people was shredding Monique without any evidence. They just didn't like Monique, and it's just like it's kind of discouraging. It's discouraging to look at.
But you know, it's the bugged out thing, like with these societies, and this is what we put on it with cultures and stuff. Everything comes from a male perspective because a lot of times those women got to go through hell. A lot of those women got to put up with hell just to deal with some of the guys in those societies, just to hold things down, to not break them apart. So a lot of times women are the fabric of a lot of those societies, but a lot of women go through fucking hell of dealing with these guys who may cheat on them. They're expected to stay, get over that. Uh, Many of them don't have lives. They're taken away from families, from friends and shit. A lot of them dudes are oppressive, and that's why you get with a lot of those women who would tend to step out, who would step out racially like a motherfucker to get away from that. A lot of them deal with a lot of abuses within them societies to where us looking from the outside be like, oh man, this is such a beautiful and blessed cultural experience they got. But you ask a lot of those women who really have to go through the whole ordeals and shit. You can't really get it from just a male perspective, but you won't get it from a woman speaking openly about it without her being punished by, like I say, a lot of these dudes from these other societies are suckers like a motherfucker. But it's a lot of women got to endure with that shit. They don't want to put up with that shit. That's why a lot of these people step outside of that cultural shit, especially the ones who become Americanized. Them girls don't put up with that shit. They don't want to deal with these insecure ass dudes from those societies who just think these women are possessions and supposed to do whatever. Like, but then again, you got to put restraints on some of that shit, because even in this society, we fucked up to women too. But we ain't oppressive as like most of them. But we have to go through. You got to go through a process of saying that shit ain't right, that shit ain't cool type shit.
Go ahead, Troy. Get your bars off, bro.
No, honestly, I'm pretty much done for the night, man. So y'all have a good night, and that's pretty much it, man. I
Nah,
mean,
you was making a good point, man. That's why I was trying to get back on to Brandon, like, because you was making a good point. Unless you are in that room, you don't know what's going on between that man and that woman. But I definitely wanted you to elaborate on that before you go.
no, I mean, all of us in here, is not one of us in here that could say that we were there with them and we touched them, and he spoke to me. It's not anybody on this panel that can tell you that. Everything that anybody knows come from somebody else's research, or somebody who might have been there, but you can't prove it. Just like with me, a lot of it comes from research and just how I put things together. To sit up there and say flat out you just wrong and you right, you were not in that room. You know nothing. None of us do. We're just going on what other people say. Just like we're told that Alex Haley wrote Malcolm X. A white boy wrote Malcolm X. Alex Haley walked with him and did all the research and all that. But it was a white gentleman that wrote Malcolm X. But you couldn't, back in the '60s and all that, you wouldn't sell one book if everybody knew that Malcolm X was written by a white boy. So that's truth is hard to really know the truth when the truth is thousands and hundreds of years old, or even 70 years old. What you have to do is piece things together. And then you form your own opinion, which is what key word I kept pushing. This is my opinion. Because I don't know how you could build anything great unless you have someone you can love and trust to really be you. Say, look, just like you have your wife, Mark. When the lights go out on their show, you don't want to deal with nobody else. You sit down and you be like, look, this is how I feel about this situation and that situation. I trust you enough where I can let my guard down and build with you. You've seen me at my best and my worst. Years later, when the Mark Nash story is told, there's gonna be people arguing about, well, nah, man, that ain't Mark. Mark ain't like that. Really? How you know? How you know? So I'm gonna just stay on mute and chill and listen.
That's why I'm gonna come up with my 12 YouTube disciples, yo. So if something happened to me, y'all can tell the stories of. Never mind, that was bad. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, let me rebuttal that. The reason I spoke so matter of factly about Malcolm is because he talked about it in his book himself, out his mouth. I didn't get it from nobody else. And also, he has letters where he talks about the relationship between him and Betty, how he didn't talk to her, how he couldn't talk to her, how he couldn't confide in her. So this ain't nothing I'm making up. This is something that Malcolm said out of his mouth, and that he wrote down. So this is not my opinion. I can't have an opinion on factual history. It either happened or it didn't. So that's what I'm speaking about when it comes to Malcolm X. I don't need to be there. I can read what he said. He has personal letters that came out that you can find that are on the internet where he talks about the deterioration of his relationship with Betty. He talks about how he damn near hated Betty in his book. He talks about in these personal letters, he talks about how Betty would talk about his sexual prowess. So once again, Troy, you have not done enough research on this subject to speak on it. That's why I can speak matter of factly when it comes to Malcolm X, that particular subject, him and his domestic life, because it's been a lot of it has been out of the public, and he speaks about it in his autobiography.
Right.
Autobiography.
And since we saying that, since we speaking on that, we also speak about his mistrust of a lot of women back then because of the the environment he came out of, and where he seen women that did faulty shit, adulterous type shit. So a lot of times he didn't have full trust of a woman. Could he confide in him? And plus he was too busy. He did a lot of traveling and shit. And even Betty speaks about that shit, about their thing, about their marriage. She couldn't go back to her home when her parents found out what she was doing. She's talking to young men. She choosing this over college. She couldn't go home, and he had been talking to her. And it took a lot from other sisters in their nation to, kind of, what's the word, to kind of court them together and shit. And it went from there. But he really didn't have a trust for women, but she was the one woman that he had the most trust for. It's a lot of people like that, man.
All right. Well, you know what? 10 years ago, I came to the proverbial fork in the road, and I had a decision to make. So I signed a plea, and if I didn't sign that plea, I wouldn't be here today, right? So on paper, you clearly have my signature. You clearly have me saying that I did X, Y, Z, and this is what blah 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 blah. What you don't see is what led to all of this. What you don't see is is just the humanity of it. What you have is just words to go by, but you don't see the truth behind it. Okay, because I just told you I signed a bunch of papers that gave me my freedom, but what actually led me to do that? I mean, because I pleaded guilty for something I didn't do, right? Why would I do that if I didn't do that? Why am I branded as this violent felon in Maryland? Why am I branded that?
You must have been somebody with them gap
Right?
teeth. No, I'm just playing.
So, but on the flip, I hear what you're saying about the
And you
letters
signed a
and all that.
paper.
Calm down, Brandon, please. Let me finish, because you got this habit of jumping down my neck when I speak, and it irritates the hell out of me. So just calm yourself down. So what I'm saying is, you can read anything on paper. You can read it, but it doesn't give you the absolute truth unless you speak to those humans involved in the situation. Okay?
But there's a thing like where Betty spoke at that event where her and Farrakhan was together at the Apollo. She kind of go and touch a little bit on their marriage and stuff, and about how there was, certain issues within their marriage and what it took for them to get married. It wasn't a thing out of they were together and they were in love. Like I said, it was a thing of he didn't really trust to be with anybody like that. He was too busy, he was too focused in his own teaching. But they start doing their thing. Of course, a man got needs. It's the woman he laying down with. They start having a lot of children. And a lot of his life wasn't even spent with his family. It was really her kind of, putting it upon herself. And based on their religious rules, I'm not fully sure, but I don't think she could have just left like that and moved on. She had her so-called duties as a woman to bear and raise the children. He provided the money. And that was common for those times where men went to work and they probably didn't spend much time home. They work a bunch of hours, come home, go to sleep. So it wasn't too much interaction between man and woman. This is a man traveling across the country on top of that.
All right. Well, Reggie, this is one of the times where I'm going to say, when it comes to situations like that, you actually have, if you were married, then you would have the experience and understand and a bit understanding of what they were dealing with. I mean, because I could piece stuff together by what you're saying, but if I've never been married, I don't know That sounds like a bunch of madness to me right there. But the fact is that I was married for, I don't know, close to 20 years. So, I have a different understanding than someone like yourself who's never been married. It was just a different understanding. Once you know something and you experience something, then you gain the knowledge of that thing. And you can form your own opinions. Nothing I'm saying is fact unless it pertains to me. Nothing.
I don't get that, Troy. I'm lost.
I'm saying sometimes you have to have the experience of the thing that you're speaking of to really to really give knowledge of it. I mean, because you can wax poetic up here all you want about marriage, but you've never been married.
I've been in relationships. I could easily be in a marriage, and I can easily walk away from them motherfuckers the same way. So what's the thing about marriage is if you know how to deal with a situation, you know how to deal with a situation, and also where you can gain experiences through observation of people's shit too. You can come from a house. You can come from a two-parent married household. You see and observe shit in that. People can learn through observations, and I think sometimes environment is the greatest of experience, and sometimes experience is that. I've been in experience, like I said, I've been with 100 fucking different chicks, and I know which ones I've been in relationships with, and which ones, and the reason why I have ended the motherfuckers. I wasn't gonna dare put
And
myself through that marriage shit. No siree, Bob.
see, Reggie, that's what you don't understand. You weren't on paper with none of those chicks. So to say you could easily walk away from a marriage, that's not true because you're not on paper with none of them. If you were on paper with them, anybody would tell you that you can't just walk away from a marriage like that. It's things you have to go through. That's why they have courts. That's why they have courts set up to separate a husband and wife who no longer want to be together.
And Troy, that's why I avoided that one. Like I said, I come across chicks who were good, but this is always the thing. I don't rush into marriages. I don't rush into things like that. But the thing is, people in today's society, they run away from too much shit. And it's funny, like talking on this subject, I was tripping off of this shit the other day, talking about this shit with like the Will and Jada shit, is where people speak of these vows and shit, and then be on their second marriage. How the fuck is that possible? So how are people living up? How can people tell you what to experience in marriage if they're on second and third marriages or even being divorced? So therefore, you haven't lived up to the honor of what the vows are. So you can't tell me about what marriage is. Many people in this country who've been married can't tell me about marriage.
I tell you what I can give you though, Reggie. I give you my opinion of marriage because I
Oh, of
have that
course,
experience of being married.
of course, and I will
Thank you.
take your experiences in. That's one thing I do. I do listen to people's experiences.
Well, I was married, and I can say that that is certain insight that I have, but that doesn't discount nobody's experiences. I mean, people experience a relationship is a relationship. Marriage in North America, United States, is just a piece of paper. That's all. It's just a piece of paper. I mean, if you have a relationship and y'all relationship is y'all's, and whatever y'all do in that relationship, it belongs to y'all and y'all understanding, then it's the same. I think we look at marriage, we look at the white man's paperwork to validate. So when you look at that, that's why Troy got to talk about the courts, because you have to sign something that binds you, and you need the white people to come and separate you. So that's what Troy's talking about when he talks about marriage. He's talking about marriage based on the Western philosophy, United States, where you go to court and you get this paper and all this bullshit. So I think that's what Troy's talking about.
And Brandon, how else do you get married unless your paperwork is signed by a judge? How else do you get divorced unless your paperwork is signed by a judge? What are you talking about?
They have they have what you would call traditional marriages and ceremonial marriages. Everybody don't go and get. You can have something called a living trust and will that basically give you the rights over the person that you with as though they're your married spouse. That the reason I think paperwork and stuff becomes involved is because of the rights and property and land and stuff like that for legal purposes. So you can be married without signing an actual marriage certificate.
Okay, but that still has to go through the courts, right, Brandon? When the trust still has to go through the court.
The the trust, the trust. But as far as actual, I marry you, you marry me, it's ways where you don't have to have an actual marriage certificate to bind you.
Yeah, some place you can just live with the motherfucker and be binded to him.
So I don't know what you're talking about that I was bringing up white man. That's why I'm just telling you, you need the courts to get married, man. I don't know how else to get married in America.
Man, I leave that marriage stuff for y'all.
And actually, I believe California is a common law state, right?
I was about to say.
Together longer than what? Is it 2 years or 5 years? You consider married? Is it 2 or 5? Yeah. So that what girl behind the mic does?
I have zero knowledge on common law. I have zero knowledge on common law marriage. Do you have any? Does anyone on here have any knowledge on common law marriage? Because I have zero knowledge on that. I've heard it, but I don't. I have no idea how it works or how you put that into play. Nothing.
Go ahead, Reg. If you understand it, I gotta understand a general understanding. I'll let you have it, Reg, if you got.
No, I don't. I just know if a person's been living together for a certain amount of time, in like the death of a person, you may be entitled to benefits and shit like that without having to actually be married. You've been paying bills together, living in shelter with one another, dependent on each other. I think over a certain period of time, certain states allow you to be open to those benefits, like spousal support in the event that person to die or some shit. And probably give you powers over in case of like medical shit.
Brandon, I'm surprised Texas.
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly how it works. So basically, it is. So did that answer your question, Troy? Did you? It basically give you the rights of a married person based on the longevity of our relationship and how tied in. Like if you and your girlfriend own a house together in certain states, y'all could be considered common law married.
I get that. I get that part of it. I understand. I have a surface working knowledge of it. What I don't understand is, let's say one of you pass away, right? But there's nothing on paper whatsoever. What's stopping this and this relative or the court to come in and just say, okay, well, this is my family's property. I'm taking this with me. What's stopping them from doing that? Because you have nothing on paper to prove that anybody left you anything.
Usually, hopefully you on a lease. You've been paying bills under this address. Your name is tied to a bill or something. You can probably
that ain't gonna stop them. That's not gonna stop them. It hasn't stopped them in all these generations. It's gonna stop them now. No, something binding. No, Reggie. I mean something binding that clearly states, I have a free will. Give this property to Reggie, and here are the paper. Here's the deeds. Here's the paperwork. Boom.
Hey,
but see, that's why. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say.
Well, that's a will. What you're talking about is a will. I think. Nah.
But no, and
yeah,
what
girl behind the mic backstage, Mark. I think what you're talking about is a.
No, what Troy's talking about. What Troy talking about is why it's important to have wills to avoid that type of shit.
What I'm saying, okay, hear me out. What I'm saying is this: when my auntie died, or she was married to my uncle, but a lot of stuff did not get signed. So even though Auntie lived in that house for I don't know how many years, it was supposed to go to my brother. Guess what? Her name was nowhere on it. He was going a little senile. His family came in behind him and made him change everything. So basically, after he passed, Uncle House went right to his family, where it really should have went to my brother because he was their caretaker and he was promised the house. But he thought everything was signed. It wasn't. Nothing was signed. Again, we go back to the courts with that because you can't just make a will. You still got to go to the court and all that. I think you have to something you have to do in court. I don't know. Like I don't have, like I said, I have a working knowledge of common law, but how does that protect you if if one of you die?
Yeah, you can get certain shit like that notarized, but you gotta make sure the person's in the right state of mind when they're signing something and put whatever rules into it. But that's why it's important for people to get their ducks in a row, like whatever you sign on, especially if you have assets that you own, you have money in the bank that you want to make sure you get everything in order. Because I always deal with that at work a lot, to where we deal with people passing away. Majority of people ain't got wills. Majority of people, especially with elder people, because I recently had to deal with somebody recently who been with somebody for damn near 40 years of their damn life, and because of the fact they weren't married, COVID hit this damn dude who was one of these Trump talking dummies, and ended up getting sick from that shit, and it killed them. And here, this lady he's been with for 40 years, he leaves without anything. And she, matter of fact, she's a foreigner. She can barely speak English, so she can't even navigate her way through the damn system. So that's the only thing I would say is important with marriage. If I'm with somebody, we've been rocking for a minute, I would for me, that's the reason why I would go get married. Not to just rush into. I'll make sure it's a person that's down with me, all this other shit. But for the sake of just marrying a motherfucker and marry him because people say it's the thing to do, fuck all that. But to, like with me, I'm like a person who won't, I don't shit on people. But if we rocking, we gonna do it just to make sure you taken care of. I'm kicking a bucket. You can take this shit.
Because all my stuff is taken care of by my cousin and my oldest child. So basically, I just have simple things that I want. As far as the house goes, you know, the children can have. I left that in her care, with it clearly states to not sell my house, to not give my house to any child that we're not sure is not really part of the family. It stays in the family. Just simple things. I do not want to be buried. I want to be cremated and planted in my backyard. Do not bury my ass. For what? It's a waste of money.
Man, you should at least save the teeth. At least save the teeth, man.
And you need a joke writer, man. You're getting dry as hell. Go ahead.
Hey, Brandon, to your point, man, I agree with a lot of things that you were saying, but I feel like the the nation is too hard on women, bro. I feel like women are the only reason we made it through slavery because they was butt breaking black men. They were killing them. They were doing all this stuff, but they held us down to slavery to the point where we got where we're here now. We owe them a lot. I feel like that we don't the nation doesn't even want to give them voices, and I feel like that's messed up in itself. Where would we be without black women, and where would black women be without us?
Oh, I'll say this: as far as the women in the Nation of Islam, I tell you this, boxing scholar, we are hard on our women because we know that without our women, we have no nation. So you are correct. The Nation of Islam is very hard on our women. But not only is it hard on our women, it's hard on the men. So just as though the women are expected to perform certain tasks, the men are too, and it's the same standard. And the women know the standard. So yes, but I think because our women have been so far gone, I'm gonna tell you something about most societies, whether it's good or bad. I can tell you about your society based on the women that your society that represents your society. So when you go into all of these countries, look, just name a country in the world and look at their women. I bet you that they have control over their women. Not control meaning do what I say, I dominate you, meaning control. Control is I control the atmosphere of my woman where I don't have to worry about when my woman goes to the grocery store, she goes to a grocery store in her community, ran by her community where she's protected. You have to be able to control something to protect it. That's why our women are the least protected women in the whole entire world because we don't have any control over our women. Our women can go out, say, do whatever they want. You don't see Japanese women going and doing and saying whatever they want. You don't see Indian women because they're controlled. And not only are they controlled, they're protected by the men in their society. So I think you are correct when you said that. And the reason why we so hard is because we want to protect our women and we want to raise up beautiful black women who can become the standard. And to do that, it's like I give you an example. In China, for them to build the country they had it was called tighten your belt straps, where you would consider it harsh because they were rationing the food, they would make them work a certain hours, but they built their country. Now look, 50 years later, because of the sacrifice and they were hard on their country. Now their country is a superpower. So that's the same philosophy. Whether it works or not,
Yeah, I just think that we're behind enemy lines trying to build some shit, and I don't think that's being hard on black women. They're already the minority of a minority, so we already know how they do black men. They do black women worse. You could even find disparities in how black women are judged for being hoes. White women get to be sexually free and not be judged. When a black woman, like perfect example, Will and Jada, everybody noted them to be swingers, but they still judged Jada really, really harshly, even though Will agreed up on the circumstances of their relationship. But Angelina and Brad Pitt was probably just as freaky, but white people don't give a fuck because they're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to do. So we can't add to the fire by
don't bring
tearing.
up Jada Pinkett around Reggie.
We can't add
My
fuel to
bad,
the
I got a
fire.
delay, man.
You good. We can't add fuel to the fire by tearing down black women further. They're already judged harshly by the world, and then we come like for years they made black women feel bad about their qualities, going back to Sarah Bartman, and now they're going to the plastic surgeons getting their bodies fucked up to be like her. So it was envy. All these years they made black women have low self-esteem, and the whole time they envied them for the qualities that they had that they was born with, when really the whole time they were jealous because they wanted those qualities. So I'm really careful about that. Meaning like me and my marriage, I consult with my wife. I'm the ultimate decision at the end of the day, but I want to hear what she got to say because we in this shit together. We rock it till we both till I go or she go. You get what I'm saying? That's the commitment that I took. So I let her have say in it. I don't want it to be like a dictatorship or a slave. I don't want that type of shit.
But you see what you said. You said the decision rests with you. That's how most societies are. And when it comes to turn down our women in the NOI, we build our women up. We if you see some of our women are some of the most freest women. It's because of the way we treat them. We don't violate our women. We don't beat on our women. Well, we're not supposed to be doing any of those things. That's what we taught. And we teach our women that they're the queen of the earth. So if you call that turn down, yeah, we turn down the old behavior and trying to impart a new behavior. So it's not, yeah, we taking away, I guess, the old Western ideas and we trying to build them up. Like you just said, they took away they used to tear away at women, at black women because of their bodies. Now they're going to plastic surgery and trying to get the same thing. That's the thing that the NOI was trying to do is build our self-esteem as a people, to be a righteous people, to be people who can take their place with and stand next to everybody else. That's the thing we're trying to build. So yeah, you could look at it as to tear down, but if you tear down something, you got to rebuild it, and that's the thing we're trying to do is rebuild our people. starting with our women.
That's my fault. I was talking about America. I didn't mean Muslims when I was saying those statements. My bad. I didn't make it clear what I was talking about. I was talking about America tearing black women down, not
Oh, right
the
on.
nation.
Right. Oh,
Yeah, and he cleaned it up because he knew he was gonna have the damn FOI at his door.
Hey, I don't even know what that is, bro. You see my icon is Muhammad Ali. I know that Muslims have did a lot for the black community. So I don't while I'm not a Muslim, I still respect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you better clean that shit up, or they be at your door without bean pies.
Nah, man, the thing about that is we don't have a lot of organizations to say we stand for us and us only, and we want to clean us up and we want to make us better. So that's why we should try to take care of organizations like that. Because we don't have too many of those in our communities. What organization to say we for our people, we for our black people, we want them to be great people, to not drink, to not smoke, to be great fathers, to be great husbands. That's ultimately what it is. And people take it and turn it into something else. They marvel at the man that Malcolm X is. They marvel at the man that Dr. Khaled is. They marvel at Muhammad Ali, and they got it from one place. It's a teaching. It's the teachings that Umar Muhammad that make these people. So
And that's why I think that shit that Fred talks about them is the most retarded shit I've ever heard. Any black motherfucker claim to be some profound black dude and speak masculinity to go after an organization like that, and then to preach black shit. I mean, like people don't get a lot of people who are slow don't get where the fuck I'm coming from when I make my statements about the shit Fred spews about this black organization, and I see nothing but deep black hatred coming from that dude when he does that, because there is no other organization. You can down there say white people ain't got an organization that organize them in the fashion that those dudes do.
yeah, and people be trying to make it seem like it's some kind of sinister thing, and it's an organization just like other organizations. We have our faults, we have our issues, but ultimately at the end of the day, that organization wants to see black people do well. I mean, really do well. Let go of these people's vices. Um, I learned how to speak in that place. I learned how to proper way to sit at a dinner table and eat. I learned how to um, wash my hands the proper way. I learned everything. I learned etiquette. I learned how to my posture. I learned how to speak. I learned how to project. I learned, you name it, I learned it. And we don't have organizations like that. And then we have people ripping away at them, and they don't even understand. How do you think Malcolm got to be how he was? He was in FOI class with the rest of us. Well, not me, but FOI class. And we teach these things. It's called manhood training, where you learn different facets of manhood and you take it out in the community and you use it. So that's the thing that people don't see. They just look at it as this black nationalist group, and it's much more than that. It teaches us how to. It taught me how to live because I come
Yes.
from nothing.
So I understand the need for that, and we definitely do need programs like that. But for me personally, I know how to be respectful and responsible to people without being taught it. You know what I mean? And if I don't, it's a learning process. Like if I'm disrespectful to you, all you gotta do is tell me, and I'll be like, my bad, bro.
But think of how many people. Where you
Yeah,
from,
Boxing
buddy?
Scholar, everybody didn't grow up like you.
Yeah, where you from, Boxing Scott? Because you deal in
Texas.
certain societies, you deal with people who aren't as respectable in this society, and we come from those societies. I'm an example, but you stay in my same household. I got a brother who totally opposite of that shit, who the NOI will be perfect to changing this motherfucker.
I agree. We need it. I was just talking about from
Yeah,
that person.
see, I grew up in the 80s. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s, man. I don't know what you went through, but I can tell you that I grew up in the 80s in the crack cocaine era in Dallas, in the inner city, in the worst parts. So, and my mom had me when she was 16 years old. So I don't have to go into detail about certain things and not learning and not being taught certain behaviors. So there's just certain things about manhood I didn't know. I mean, just to be honest, to tell you the truth, I didn't know men got up and went to work every day because that's not what I seen the men doing around me. I didn't learn those things. I just didn't know what men did. I knew what the males around me, the grown males around me, did when I was growing up. And I can just tell you, I grew up around a lot of hustlers and a lot of prostitutes and a lot of drugs. So these behaviors that most people get in two-parent households, or they have parents that have certain backgrounds who are stable. A lot of us didn't have that, especially growing up in the 80s and in the 90s. We went through a lot of trauma through the drug era. A lot of people got killed, and a lot of things happened. So I was just blessed that my uncle was a Muslim, and he took me under his wing, and I got allowed to see black men be great. They wasn't on the corners shooting dice. They wasn't selling dope. They wasn't pimping hoes. They were going out being pillars of their communities, waking up every morning trying to be better people, and that was what influenced me. Other than that, I probably have the same story that everybody else had. So, boxing scholar, everybody just didn't. Most of the people that I grew up around, they didn't have that, where they had that self refinement or somebody taught them. They didn't. They just didn't.
I didn't have it either. Shit, my daddy was from that crack era, man. The crack game took my dad. I didn't have it either. I don't know. I guess it's just being. I guess that southern hospitality thing is real. I learned disrespect could get you killed, early. So I was respectful to everybody, and anybody who was disrespectful, I handled it accordingly.
Indeed. Um, but yeah, a lot of those things I had to be taught. I mean, my old man was in and out, and like my old man, I mean, I ain't afraid to say it on there. My old man's in prison, and a lot of things about manhood I learned from the FOI. Or else I just didn't know what a man was. So I thank the FOI for teaching me about manhood. I mean, I got a chance to be around Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I got a chance to be all these people that people revere now. I got a chance to be around these men and see what strong black men look like. Black men who didn't smoke, who didn't drink, who were married, who were about family and their people. It's a beautiful thing watching that, especially when you see us start to come into our own without all when our self-esteem starts to go up, when you have people that think like you and you in an organization that's all about seeing your people do well. It's a beautiful thing. And I had never seen nothing like that. Even putting on the Million Man March, I had a chance to do that. All of these historical things that I got a chance to do helped me see that it's another side. When you grow up in poverty around the worst, they call them traps now, but we just hell, that's just where we lived. It wasn't no trap. That was my house. That was my home. Um, when you get a chance to see black people or black men not do what you would not participate in the criminal element, not do certain things, and actually become pillars of society, upright men, it just does something to you. So uh, that's why the NOI will forever hold a place in my heart, no matter what the religious aspect of it, no matter what. I'm just saying the basic fundamentals of what it taught me in manhood, I could never get. So that's my stance on that. I don't.
And look, it was a trip. Like even thinking about the NOI, like even on my block, it was a Muslim family that moved over from the nation, and the respect they commanded. Did nobody come at them with gangster shit? Did nobody approach them sideways? And don't nobody approach the daughters any sideways? Like the daughters were cool. They hung with us. They dressed in kind of that religious garb. I don't know if it was a certain custom that the girls had to dress like, but their hair was wrapped. They didn't reveal themselves, but they was just regular. But nobody pushed up on them. We didn't treat them like they was hoes, try to rub their ass or any, you know, out of line type things like that. You showed them respect, and plus they ran they ran like a school over out of the house. They ran some kind of like daycare program out of the house over there, but it was always a level of respect. Even the gangsters over there, you know, they just were very respectable. The way in which they carried themselves, like you had no other choice but to, you know, show them the same level of respect as well. They didn't come off like, and matter of fact, they were kind of something to kind of look up to, like to carry yourself, to model yourself after the way they conducted themselves. Like, and they were ahead of shit, like based on how other people conducted themselves over in a community, just to generalize, like they were much different, man, much different people in the way they conducted themselves. And some of them come from backgrounds, you go probably 10 years back in their life or 20 years in their life, they probably was the same, menaces that we see in the neighborhood I came from. And that organization changed a lot of those people.
Girl behind the mic, didn't you have something to add to the conversation a while ago?
I did. That was before my mango and sneakers, but I forgot. But no, I wanted to say this is a great example of how influence can influence the next generation, or the youths of America, the black youths of America, all black and brown. So that's why I always say, the responsibility is now with us, our generation, to impart in the next generation as much as we can. Our children, our nieces, our nephews, all this information. Because when I was listening, I didn't know your story, Brandon, but I was just taken aback because your life to me almost seems like it changed, right? If you never had that introduction, you would have probably statistically fallen in the same tracks that everyone else was falling. But you took a different turn because you had an influence, your uncle. So that made a big difference, you know. But I forgot what I was saying earlier. I think we're talking about common law marriage before I clicked the start cam button. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. But
Troy kept saying, Troy, jump in. He said he got a question for you, Boxing Scholar.
He talking through the chat. He talking to me through the chat. It's not related to this subject. But girl behind the mic, I had a question to ask you because I had a
sure.
cousin who was dating a Jamaican girl. And I always try to learn because, like I said, I feel like black people are lost people. Like we literally like we're kidnapped and everything. We don't have no culture, and culture equals confidence. And you need confidence, especially when you have all these different foreign subjects pulling, like the prison industrial complex. You got all these stuff like designed to fuck us over. You need confidence. Confidence is key. Like the world's leading psychologists will tell you, as a kid, you need confidence to be something when you grow up. So I was talking to her about all these things, and we were talking, and she told me like, "Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I feel bad for y'all. My heart sank. I thought we was in the boat together, but she clearly was saying I have a culture because they even was speaking patois. We ain't got shit. You know what I mean? They were speaking patois. I ain't gonna lie, I was so envious. I even told her that day, like, I'm so jealous, man. Like they literally could go to their 3 or 4 times great grandma's teachings that was passed down. Like if we go back 3 or 4 generations, we might find a white motherfucker in our family.
But even with that, that shouldn't destroy nothing, bro. I mean, we gotta keep pushing forward. Like even with our kids, should we allow our kids confidence to be crushed because we can say, well, our culture's been lost, so fuck it, kid. We're gonna be turned to shit. I mean, that shit is lost. Like, I mean, people got to get over that. Nothing should stop you to where you can't proceed ahead. And that's the problem with black folks. Black folks have this defeatist ass mentality. Not having a language doesn't change anything because all language is for is communications. Intelligence is all people need, and people have to learn how to organize and move forward as a front. But black people seem to want to be stuck in ancient ancient periods in time. Like, this is the modern fucking world. It's time to get with it. Like, all that need to learn an African language. Well, Africa got many fucking languages. So what language are we gonna learn to speak? It ain't just an African language. What culture are you gonna learn? It ain't just an African culture. There's many cultures inside of African countries. Like, so all that shit that Black Americans harp on is a bunch of BS that we just don't want to proceed forward. We gotta fucking we have to proceed with what we got. There's a Black American culture, but black folks too stuck on with white folks saying you eat too much chicken or you eat too much watermelon. Well, who gives a fuck what they say? We don't eat casserole. Is that offensive to them if we talk about their food? No, but black folks have an offense of what white folks don't accept. Like, we oh, thanks. And Karma Supreme says Black Americans have culture. Absolutely. And we spend too much time trying to ignore that shit because we fall into, what's that shit I always like saying, that double black consciousness. We worried about how white society view us. But that's the problem. That's the problem I have when I hear black people say I don't even say it, sucker primacy all the fucking time. There's nothing supreme about it. You gotta fucking go with what you got. We live in a current age. We have children that we're reproducing like a motherfucker. We can't harp on what culture is. Culture don't change shit. Culture just brings about a way of dance, a way of storytelling, a way of experiencing tales of the past.
Reg, it's deeper than that.
But no, it's not, Brandon. We live in a modern
Reg,
world.
like Boxer Scholars said.
Brandon, let me say this.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Wait. Let me finish this point. Why it doesn't progress shit forward? Because the world, the leaders of this world ain't harping over fucking culture. The brilliant minds of this world ain't harping over culture. You take the fucking advanced minds and you proceed forward with the world. What is holding us back? Economics. And what translates with economics? The brilliance of a mind. Motherfuckers out here talking about this shit with Elon Musk buying a company for fucking 44 billion. Well, Elon Musk earned that money through his fucking brilliance of his mind. Fucking, and a lot of wealthy black folks in this country have earned their wealth through the brilliance of their minds. That's all it fucking takes. Black folks got to shake some of this dumb shit we love to entertain. Not so much of us, but we know the motherfuckers around us. Salute my brother DB in the building.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that I'm defeated. I'm not. No. The argument is always personal responsibility for black people, and this is what I say to personal responsibility. My wife is a nurse, right? I'm going back to school to be a police officer. We're going to be middle class. I'm going to teach my children all the things that I was never taught, and that's going to make a better generation.
No
to what?
Here we go.
Okay, yeah.
I was messing with Boxer Scholar. I was messing with Boxer.
I caught it, bro. I caught it at the last second. It kind of like beamed out. But to add to the point I was saying, we're going to be middle class. We're going to teach we're going to create generational wealth. But how does that help my fellow man? It doesn't. Personal responsibility only helps you. It doesn't help everybody else. I want to create a situation where I help pull other people up to where I am. That's and that's where culture comes into play. She said Black Americans have culture. It's intertwined with slavery and taught by the descendants of those slave owners. How is that a confidence builder? You have to go to ancestry.com to find out where you really come from.
No, people trying to find out where they come from in Africa. That shit is shaking, bro. It's no, like, people chasing at the shit that is lost. And even a lot of people ain't running to that ancestry.com shit. That's a bunch of foolish people chasing after that shit while those people take your money and can't tell you shit about yourself. All that matters is what you have right now and whatever you can obtain as far as your culture. But sometimes you're gonna go back, and even in this modern age, it's gonna be motherfuckers who can't even go back 50 years before people begin to forget about each other. People have to slow down with what they have. We have, and the thing with society, as much as society complain, A lot of societies have enjoyed too much of this freedom of playing around and enjoying that they're fucking not slaves. That's period point blank what has been happening with black folks. Sometimes they complain about all this racist shit that's oppressing them, but the niggas be quick when they get money, ain't worried two bits of shit about no oppression and shit. They dancing, spending money, giggling, wearing fine fabrics and shit, and playing around. And it's only when motherfuckers is pouring down that they turn righteous about shit. How about niggas be righteous when they balling out of control without showing the shit? How about people slow the fuck down and start teaching? Like even what you saying about being middle class, what you gotta feel sorry for the next man. Your thing is to be an example for a motherfucker to follow. And the problem with black society, we spend too much time only wanting to communicate in terms of money. No, communicate in terms of teaching a motherfucker. Because with lessons comes plans for money. But it shouldn't be always about what money you got, because when people talk money, you deal with jealous motherfuckers. As much as we want to be with our people, you still got to deal with human characteristics of jealousy, envy, and a motherfucker trying to knock you over the head for it. Like, I mean, we got what we got. The black culture is beautiful, not this dumb shit that exists in it, but black folks have a beautiful culture, beautiful music. We have beautiful dance. I ain't considering the WAP movement and all that other shit or the mumble rap shit, but there's beauty in what's black and what's the essence of black. Like we got that shit.
Yeah. So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought
yeah,
I was
you
getting
loud and
closer.
clear.
So I had this conversation with Mark off of camp off of air, and I was telling him that in America, man, like even if you make it and you're successful and you're a black person, there's always a cap on your success. The word nigga is universal. Russians know what the word nigga mean. Everybody know what the word nigga mean. That's two things that's universal. It's capital and the word nigga. Everybody knows what that word means, right? Oprah Winfrey has been rich forever since I was a kid. She's been rich for at least 20 to 30 years. Oprah Winfrey's money is not even close to what Elon Musk was, and she had a head start on Elon Musk. And she's in entertainment and anything. She has the ability to create millionaires, but she's still not a billionaire because there's a cap on black people. You can make it.
That's false as fuck, bro. But go ahead.
So you can make it, but there's always going to be a cap on your success. Meaning, if I become a police officer, I'm going to be a black cop. Like when I went to this expo down here in San Antonio, there was these two scholarly people talking. They were black, and they said when they write about black people, they write the better stories because they know what it is to be black. And the white counterparts will be like, "How did you come up with that?" They'd be like, "Because I'm black." But they need 6 and 7 sources to confirm their source, even though they're scholarly. They went to school and got their degree. When the black homeowner bought her house, or was going to get her house appraised, and they appraised it first when they seen it was her. She went and got her sister's husband that was white to say it was his house, got it reappraised, and instantly it jumped up to $100,000. That's because there's a cap on our success. Because no matter what, Obama, perfect example. What did they say about him? He's the food stamp president. He's this, he's that. Obama could not do anything. Trump could do everything. Trump didn't even have any experience in the Oval Office. Nowhere in America
Trump didn't do everything. Trump talked a lot of what he gonna do, and he couldn't do it.
But there's no place in America where a black man can run for anything, do anything with no experience. I can't go apply for a superintendent and say I don't have any experience, but trust me, I'm a good talker and get that job. That's white privilege, man. We're always gonna have a cap. That's why I'm always, even though I'm gonna do personal responsibility and take care of my house, I'm gonna always try to make it a point to try to pull anybody up that's trying to get ahead in life, even if they surpass me, because I feel like other cultures come together and do that for each other, and black people should come together and do that for each other.
But even what you talk about the cap shit, like you trying to judge Oprah's money to Elon Musk. Oprah's wealthy as fuck. Oprah's one of the most powerful women in media, and she did it with being ridiculed over her look. She didn't give a fuck. She was fat when she was being talked down about it. She didn't have to open her legs for no motherfuckers. She did hard and high quality fucking work, and she persevered over any white motherfucking woman or man in entertainment. She has made white men to where they were, where they relied on her. Oprah is a media fucking machine. and she did what she did astronomical shit as a wealthy black woman. It wasn't no limits placed on her. It's just in her industry. That Elon Musk shit is some revolutionary shit. That motherfucker's doing all sorts of profound ass shit, and based on people investing into what he has going on. They ain't that type of investment going into what Oprah is doing now. But Oprah is a juggernaut in media. She's a giant. Like, can no white person stop her? They tried for years. When you're a black person who don't bow, who don't fold, who don't worry about what white people call them, you ain't crying over hearing the N word thrown at you. You ain't worried about them telling you fat. Oprah showed that shit. She did some fuck shit with certain movies she did, but when you really look at the profile of Oprah, Oprah's a motherfucking machine that the white folks couldn't do nothing to stop. And
white people in Texas.
Wait, say it again, because you go ahead, say it.
White people in Texas I said that the white people in Texas almost broke Oprah. She said something about the beef industry. And they drug her ass in the court in Texas. She had to do her show here for months and months, and they damn near put her ass into bankruptcy. Also, you said that Oprah is powerful. Oprah does not own her own. Go ahead.
Almost ain't good.
But I'm saying it's showing you the power. It shows that she's powerful.
I got an even better point than that, Brendan. Oprah went to France or somewhere in Europe and was stopped, and she had enough money to buy the whole fucking store, but they still stopped her inside because it don't matter what level she achieved, Oprah is still viewed as a nigga. Keep it all the way real.
And let's keep this all the way real. I bet that employee that stopped her probably was fired like a motherfucker soon as Oprah walked away with all that money. So we hear one side of the story.
I bet they wasn't.
I bet you they was. And we just throw too much power at white folks. Black folks got to stop that empowering shit. These niggas, I'm going to keep telling y'all a billion times.
No, Oprah told that story herself. No. Rich.
Brent, I'm not denying
Oprah told that story herself about even though she's wealthy. So that means she, no matter how much money she has and so much so-called power, she was marginalized based on what she looked like. She was stereotyped and marginalized based on what she looked like.
Granted.
So are you powerful?
Yeah, but listen, bro. You're going to deal with people who get employed in the systems. That same thing was bringing up earlier about when black folks don't apply for law enforcement positions. You think because your black ass don't apply for some shit, it's going to stop white people from applying for it? They're going to put a freeze on it. You're going to deal within companies who are going to have racist ass people employed in them, racist ass managers. And then the minute they pull some fuck shit with the wrong person is the minute that idiot who would do some shit like that will lose their fucking job. That company will come back to fucking apologize and try to win over her business. So, I mean, just we can highlight over a story she got turned away. But guess what? Some other competitor of that company, let me say this, some other competitor of that company received big business from Oprah, from one stupid ass, bigoted fucking employee. Racism ruins a lot of companies. And then we go from where we've been at, a lot of fucking where black folks are, we have defeated a lot of systems. And even with me, with what I challenge a lot of shit, because I watched my sister pull this shit at this high school we was going to in California, where a white motherfucking coach been in this school thinking he powerful, almighty, because many other black families have allowed this nigga do what he want. I'm going to school in Cerritos called Gar High School. And a racist coach, he's trying to fuck over people's scholarship opportunities, pull bullshit in the football program. He the athletic director. My sister and him ran that motherfucker the fuck up out of this white school. And it became a school dominated by black folks. They immediately put a black dude over the track program as the sports director. He head the sports team to where she challenged that shit. And that's kind of where I learned you got to challenge these motherfuckers. You don't bow down to these people. Even in the military, in my small ass rank, I didn't put up with that shit with these old backwood motherfucking redneck cats. Like, fuck no, you gonna show me respect. Like, otherwise, fuck that. I can get on some real ignorant shit. I can be a cool soldier, be cool, young motherfucker. Or in the minute you come with that old hillbilly shit, that Jim Crow shit, the minute we gonna get some ignorant shit, we gonna turn this whole fucking unit into a public embarrassment. And that's what type of time I'm on. They don't show no supreme bullshit to these motherfuckers. Like, and too many black people across this country do that shit. Just act defeated. Like, and not just saying with you to box out, a lot of black people speak like this and shit.
I don't act defeated though. I told you my goal in life. I'm gonna try to pull black people up. But so here's the thing what I tend to see out of black people, right? So I either see black people either one way to the extreme. Either they say, you know, we're in the condition that we're in and it's hopeless, you know what I mean? Or they say, you know, I'm gonna fight and do what I gotta do to make it out. I feel like I'm on that spectrum. I don't feel like I've given up anything. I'm just not. I'm gonna be honest about who my enemy is and how powerful my enemy is. Because if you take a millionaire who's white, he would not be treated like that in another country. Oprah's money shits on his money, and she still was treated like that. Because, like I said, there's two things that's universal: money and the word nigga. And people understand what that means in different countries.
So you bring up that France experience. Did that stop Oprah from going to France? I doubt not. Probably video of Oprah back in that country. It cost that idiot that motherfucker's job. That's the thing people leave out. And even in her story, like, yeah, they're gonna deal with it. Many wealthy billionaires deal with it. I'm pretty sure Floyd, matter of fact, Floyd highlighted that shit, dealing with it, going to the estate he lived in, them denying him access to his own property through the guard gates, and him having to go off on people. And you best believe, after it was all said and done, that guard who tried to deny him access because of some old racist bullshit got his ass put up out of there. Or even when we look at our court systems, like we allow too many of these punk ass bigots, because you can't stop certain behaviors within people, even in the system as it tries to change. Because people want to sit back and talk about the country back in 1776. It treated us like we were apes and we didn't exist as humans, and people want to stay locked in on that shit. It's nothing we can do. They just view us. But then we see other people who are nerdy black people who don't abide to that shit, and they move through these systems alone, and they move into these positions. And then we sit there and look at them. Like I said, back in the early 80s when I was a kid, anytime black people would see a motherfucking a professional job, they always cast it down on them. A black nigga flying a plane? Oh, hell no, let me off of this shit. A black dentist? Oh, hell no, let me reschedule my appointment. A black surgeon? Oh, hell no, I'm healed. You just named the shit. And black people just had these fucking dissenting motherfucking views towards seeing black people in higher positions that they term should be white positions. And that's the sick-minded shit from black folks who just and who just didn't, you know, comprehend the thought that a black person can do that. We barely finding about fucking black people assisting with NASA and all these other creations of high-level black people, because these are black people we ignored why they went on to do this shit on their own. Like, that's the shit that we grow so disinterested in shit. Even look at some of our music. We grow disinterested in some of our historical music, history and shit. Like, I mean, come on, we gotta hold ourselves to some standards and shit. And these white folks ain't all that powerful because it's positions we can take in. And even back to like that court shit. Every fucking seat in this fucking country, I mean, law school ain't gotta be full of white kids. We have to educate our kids. There's scholarships out here that we can get, and we can do shit. Like, we got the ability to change everything. America ain't gonna be shit without black folks. I don't give a fuck what other race of people don't feel that, because they wouldn't be in the positions they are without the fight of black people. Nobody's put up a fight like us. And we've been the only people that we've been the only people in history to actually be able to defeat America and not even realize the shit. No other nation has defeated this country except black motherfuckers.
Now, I got a question for you because I've been listening for a while. As much as I've heard about what's not getting done in XYZ, what is getting done? What are the positives now? We've heard enough negatives. You know, what are the positives now?
You got small numbers of people doing shit. I spoke on them. I don't know if you mean for me.
How do
I
we know
spoke
that it's small though, Reggie? I mean, what are you
Name,
what
I
are you
mean,
speaking
name
from?
the number. They just brought up about black federal judges. Let's bring that up. How many black people are attending
Oh,
black law programs, engineering programs? I'll talk
okay,
about
you
my
based
experience going through
right,
pilot
right, right,
programs.
right. You based that on your opinion, just like what I'm saying. Let's highlight the positive now, because you can't build from what's not being done. You can only build from what is being done. That's I've never met any any group of people that says constantly, "Oh, we're failures. We're failures. We're failures. You're failures. Your failures are going to fail." Can't build from that. But if you take the positives, then you could build from that. Something very simple. Then I'm gonna be quiet. When I had to take care of my uncle's business when I was his caretaker, I had to go to get his records, from the military. I did not know he had a Purple Heart. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was one of the best singers in Jamaica. Didn't know that. Didn't know he went to Motown and signed a contract and all that. Didn't know that. I was just saying to myself, what if I knew all that as a child? That's stuff I probably could have built off of. He just didn't tell people that stuff.
And you touch on the point I brought up. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying these are the positives that I'm talking about. If we know the positives, it's not up to society to tell us, hey, these are your positive Black people. It's up to us to do the research or find it ourselves. It starts off with the family. I don't care if you're single mother, uncle, whatever the case may be. Everybody has that standout in their family. Everybody, and you could say, okay, well, so and so did this, and you could build from there. That sets a spark off inside of a little child or whoever. And then, okay, I could do it. Then you push forward and it comes from there. All it takes is a little spark. And that's how fires start. I mean, everything negative, it's going to be there. You're going to have negative. It comes with a positive. But you don't focus on the negative. Purposeful positivity pushes past all problems. That's just the way I see it.
But Troy, you just spoke on everything I just basically was talking about. But you spoke about a family who didn't share the story of a dude who was a fucking hero in your family.
I spoke on my family. I didn't speak on a family.
No, but I mean on your family. And you spoke of a family that didn't share its history of a person who should have been idolized within a family, whose story should have been shared. He should have shared his story. That's my thing about how a lot of history from Black folks is lost. It ain't lost where some people, white people, took our history. No, we take our own damn history.
And what did I say after that, Reggie, if you don't mind me cutting you off? What did I say after that?
No, we look at certain people as sparks. It's the same thing I stated about certain things when we see positive people as far as positions they're in, to use that as a spark. The same thing with my sister being a spark as far as what she tore down at a fucking school that had for decades been dominated in white fucking predominance and privilege and shit. And then also speaking about how people used to shit upon seeing Black people in these top professional positions. And even still today, people do that shit. To a Black person seen in certain high positions is always some negative slight in a joking matter put out about this person. But you have to change that. That's been the whole kind of talk. It ain't been negative talk about what my whole thing has been, like Black people saying we can't do this or we got culture. I'm against that. Like, we can't harp on that shit. We got to move forward. That's my whole push. We got to move forward. We got to educate. We can't harp on what's lost and what was taken from us, because a lot of what's taken from us is us. We ain't teaching our own shit. I mean, you can do it. If we did a survey, we can find many motherfuckers can't go even back 50 years into their history of actual conversations. A lot of people get on here and fake like they know their history, and I'll be hearing some of them and I know they lying about the shit.
Yeah, so I feel like every movement that we've ever had has always been like, led by men. So I want to hear what Girl Behind the Mic has to say about this. I feel like we have to include our sisters in our movement. I think that's where we go wrong. It's always a man, and then egos get involved, and then you hear arguments.
So I think that women need to be highlighted, because unbeknownst to a lot of people, there were a lot of powerful women that were actually in front of these movements, but not in the public eye. One person I could take for a fact is Winnie Mandela. There wouldn't have been a Nelson Mandela without Winnie Mandela. She spearheaded that. They pulled in Nelson Mandela a little bit after, but she had started that whole entire movement. And even when he was in prison, she kept the flame on that. So perhaps, which when I say perhaps, it's part of my responsibility too, to tell stories of women in time that actually helped, but just were not put in the forefront, were not put in the front. They were in the backstory. So I don't know. I think that's my 2 cents
I
about
agree.
that.
And
I
you know
agree.
what's so crazy about the Winnie Mandela story? All she gets highlighted
Oh,
for.
I agree, but I agree. I agree, but I agree.
Mm.
Yeah, she called Nelson Mandela a coward too. Remember that, Reg? She called him a coward when he went to accept the Nobel Peace Prize with F.W. de Klerk.
Yeah, I was
So
about to say
you
about
talking
how
about a
he.
real rider? You right, girl, behind the mic. So that my theory kind of goes out the window because she did spearhead that, and Mandela talks about that in his book. If any, Reg, you should do that. That's a great book read. Mandela's
She
book is
called him a
beautiful. You
coward.
should read
Did
it.
she give a reason why,
But
Brandon?
girl behind the mic,
Hmm.
yeah,
Brandon,
hell
you know,
yeah,
did she give a reason why?
because she said that he was okay. Yeah, she did. She said that she called him a coward because he was going to accept the prize with his captors. Like those are the people that put you in prison, and you going to
I
stand
know what
next to
Kappa
them and
is,
accept
man.
the peace
I know what
prize.
Kappa
You're a
is.
coward.
Nah, you know, in war,
So
man,
yeah, that's why she called him a coward. For
to be honest with you, in war, it's those that that you have to slaughter, and then it's those that do the politicking. So maybe it just got to the point where he became the politician, and she became the warrior queen, something like that. I don't know, but
No, the reason why they got divorced was because here we go again, touching on some people's favorite heroes in life,
Yeah,
was
they
because
destroyed Winnie because of that divorce, and I thought that was foul to put that upon her.
right. And the reason why they got divorced was because Winnie Mandela was for the people. This was the movement she birthed. She was for the people. Nelson Mandela was a long time ago bought by I think the British. Yeah, it was the British monarchy. It was Britain. So he was
and
already bought. They were sneaking him out of prison, already making back end deals with him. So make no mistake, his release wasn't because the people had, shouted for him to be released. He had signed a lot of agreements with these people. That's why his term didn't even last. He had sold himself to these people. And when he got out, he had sold himself to their systems and everything like that. And Winnie Mandela was upset. She refused to be a part of that. That's why they got divorced. She wouldn't stand and tell the people that she kept, encouraging to fight for the people, for South Africa to, get back into their hands. And he went against everything. That's why he came up with everybody's favorite things. What is it? Something about being peaceful and all this other stuff was because they bought this man off. They knew how powerful Winnie Mandela was. They didn't want the country to get burnt down by a bunch of angry people. So they got him. They made him the guy in the forefront. I think he actually rode out in some pictures with the Pope and Queen Elizabeth and all of that. But that's why Winnie Mandela they got divorced and she stayed with the people. But she was a threat. She was a threat
but
to them.
yeah, but in situations like that, you always that somebody has to make a compromise, and somebody has to fall on their sword, or there's really no movement. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, I've never been put in position where millions of lives are now in my hand and I'm guiding them. I don't ever want to be put in that position. But it just sounds like a man who fell on his sword thinking that he was doing the best for his people. That's all.
No,
I
he
don't
should have said no. He would have remained and died in prison. He looked out for himself, not for
no, he
anybody.
should have said no.
Easy.
He should
Okay,
have said
listen
no
now.
and died. That's right. He should have
That is
said no
very
and died
easy
in
to
prison.
say. That is very easy to say while you're sitting free. To tell somebody else to die in prison. Would you die in prison? It's five of us up here. How many of you all would die in prison?
For the
Yes,
cause, that's his
yes,
cause.
yes.
Everybody
Me,
has something
me,
they would die
me,
for.
me, right here
Okay.
for the
Everybody has
cause.
something they
For
would
the
die
cause,
for.
I would, I will.
Cause of what? Cause of what?
His people. He betrayed his
Me
people. That's
Okay.
what he
to
did.
see his people free, to see his people.
You know what? I'm
He
gonna take you
betrayed
at your
their
word.
interest, even with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee.
Let me
Yeah,
be
Troy, you
very
got to
blunt.
study
You
this
might be
stuff. It's
offended by what
fascinating.
I'm telling you.
Matter of fact, do yourself a favor, Troy, and look up
Okay,
the Truth. Go ahead. Go ahead, Troy.
you might be offended by what I'm about to say, but you're not in prison now. You're free telling me that. If you if this cause you're talking about was so important and it hasn't changed, we still fight for the same things. Why are you a free man telling me that you would die in prison?
I think the question posed was, what did we want him
Troy,
to
you
do?
asked the question. This is what you
Right.
said. You said,
I
right.
know what
Thank
I
you, girl
said.
behind the
I
mic.
know what I said,
No, I
Brandon.
was saying,
What I'm saying to you is it's easy to say it, but to carry out the action and just to tell the man, die in prison. You're not doing it. You sitting at home free.
right, but the question was about, what we wanted him to do. And the reason why he was
No, it
Nelson
wasn't.
Mandela was because
No, it
he,
wasn't.
no,
No, it
because,
was absolutely not. The question was, would there's five of us up here? Would any of you die in prison?
okay, then I said, okay. And I said, yes, I would if that was the cause. And everyone is saying, what's the cause? The thing was, this was his livelihood. This is what he signed up for. I didn't sign up to be the martyrdom of the Negroes globally or
Here we go.
nationwide. That's not my cause, but that was his cause. He led the
Thank
people
you
to
for that.
rebellion alongside with Winnie Mandela. That's why he was in prison to begin with. So it was just all backwards because he should have never even did that, because he ended up signing the devil's deal afterwards and sold and betrayed his own people.
You don't sign up for all that pain. You were driven by a passion and a love given
And
to
that
you.
passion should have
At least
kept
what
him
I'm
in
saying,
jail, in prison.
what I'm saying, girl behind the mic, you're driven by this passion and this purpose given to you by whatever you believe in, Almighty God, Jah, whoever, and that's what drives you. That's what drives you to do this. Obviously, over time, he just like any other human being, he softened a little bit. They came to him with some kind of compromise, and he said, "Okay, if it affects the people this way, I can deal with that. Affects the
It's
people
called
that way,
being
I can't."
broken. It's not
But
softened, Troy. It's called being
Brandon,
broken.
I haven't
But
got
he's an
to the end
old
yet.
man.
I haven't
He's an
got to
old
the end
man
yet.
too.
I haven't got to the end yet. So basically, he took it upon himself to say, "I'm going to do it this way for two reasons. One, I don't believe that I can survive in here anymore. I want to be free. I don't want to die in here. Two, I believe this I could settle with to help my people. And that's a hard thing to go through. And none of us up here have gone through that. I mean, I don't know what the hell I would do if I was in his situation. That sounds like a spiritual breaking situation, is sit in jail for for your beliefs, and then when you have a chance to get out, you have to make all these damn compromises, and some of your people are gonna hate you for it. You know that, but you just can't die in this damn place. You can't. You just had enough. You want to see your grandchildren. You want to see your children who probably don't. Just things you want to see as a regular human being. I can't sit here as a free man and say, "Die, just go die in prison like that." Like it's that easy. Who the hell am I to say that?
Yeah,
No.
so history's full of people killing and dying for something that they believe in. So when you ask us, will we die in prison? That's not a fair question, because none of us want to die in prison. But if you ask us, do we have something that we passionate about that we would kill or die for? I'm pretty sure all of us
I
would
didn't
say,
ask that question.
I know. I'm telling you why your question wasn't fair. If you asked us if there's something that we passionate about
Hell, you gonna
that we
tell me
would
what my question was? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
that we would die for, we would all five say yes, because you see it throughout history, people killing and dying for their passions or their causes. So I don't feel like that's a fair question. And okay, so
My
they
question is not
hold,
fair
hold up,
because
Troy.
nobody wants to say, okay, I'm gonna die in prison.
Hold up, Troy.
That's
Let
why
me
my
finish.
question isn't fair.
Let me finish my thought. They say during your time of during your lowest moments, the devil comes and lies to you and make you believe that you have no other option. Because guess what? He ended up dying anyway, and now his legacy is forever tarnished. He ended up dying anyway. It was the same outcome. Everybody meets the same outcome. So he ended up dying anyway, but now
I
his
don't,
legacy was tarnished because
I
he
don't
gave
see
it
it as
to the
being
devil
tarnished for
during
me.
his moment of weakness.
Yeah. Was it tarnished?
How was it
Blemish.
tarnished?
Let me
I
say
mean,
blemish, not tarnished. Blemish.
well,
Yeah,
what human beings.
yes. No. It was tarnished because, and I can
Well,
explain why. And I can explain why it was tarnished. It was tarnished because he went against his belief and he sold his people out. That's why his legacy is tarnished. The De Beers family, the ones who own the diamond mines, they were his backers. Go look this stuff up. And then the Truth and Reconciliation Committee basically sold out all of his people and didn't punish anybody. So yes, his legacy is tarnished for those who know the history. Now, if you know the whitewash history that white people present to you of Nelson Mandela, of course he's this
That's what
hero
everybody.
with that won the Nobel Peace Prize and all of that. So if you know real history, I agree, Troy. So if you know the real history, yes, his legacy is tarnished. Not only is it tarnished, it's very complicated when it comes to the people.
But I
Okay,
say like this. Who was the next man up? I mean, why let this old motherfucker just die and rot away in
this
prison?
old motherfucker.
Sorry, I mean, I just like using cuss words sometimes.
They bought him. They broke him and then they bought him. They bought him and then they broke him, Reg. That's what happened. They bought him and they broke him.
But listen, Brandon, I'm saying this. Why does it end with just Nelson? Where's the next revolutionary at? Where are the young guys to spearhead a movement? To
Julius
saying,
Malemo, he's out there.
They
Julius Malemo.
what they do? Okay.
To just say rest up
The one
Nelson.
with the red beret, with the guy with the red beret
Julius.
on.
Yep,
What did he
Julius.
accomplish? Just because he dressed in military shit, what did he accomplish?
Well, he's gathering people and he's making headways. It's gonna take time because he's the opposing party.
You talking about on some modern today shit? You talking about right now?
In the last years, he's been active in South Africa.
That's bullshit.
Right.
We're talking about apartheid.
What do you mean? Nelson Mandela was in prison for
Reggie.
close to 30 years.
And that's what I'm saying. Listen to my question. Where was the next person up free during his incarceration?
Winnie Mandela.
Winnie Mandela. The men. Where were they at?
Winnie Mandela. And also,
where are the men at?
Reg, listen, they had a group called the ANC. I'm gonna tell you, Reg, they had a group. The name of their group is called the ANC, the African National Congress, right? There was a group, a political party. What happened was they was trying to change apartheid, right? They were founded by most of the poor Africans, okay, of South Africa.